Right.
Okay, you're read.
The loud
Thank you. Today being Thursday, November 9th, 2017, please, let the record show. John Scanlon is with us, and we're going to start this meeting. Can you tell I'm tired? Let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did I see that the governor had the flags at House staff? I didn't, usually I see them when they come in and then I go around town and see who's put them down or not.
Madam Chair, can we just take a second, because I know you will not do this, but we will, can the board collectively congratulate Helen Hanks for being the first woman in New Hampshire to be the Commissioner of Corrections for the state of New Hampshire. Yay, Helen. I knew Catherine would not bring this up because it's too near and dear to her. But that's a heck of a feat. First women. How do you feel about that?
It was quite a process, but yeah, she's done good.
Yeah, and she will do good too.
I think she will.
Not a problem with that.
Commissioner Wren was a very good mentor. Helen will do a good job, but he'll be sorely missed. We have town administrator up first. Is that still the route we're taking?
As long as he keeps joking.
I don't know
What's some nuts?
what week of minutes they're on, so.
That's for the nutty.
Oh yeah, you do that. Not in no way I'm like I am.
Must be liking a long weekend, too.
You know what happened at that time.
Okay. I managed to get a little agenda done here somewhere. The first item is there are two, one's a veterans tax credit and the other is, they're both veterans tax credits, excuse me. I put elderly exemptions, they're veterans tax credits. And this one is an abatement. They were eligible as of March 30th, 2017 for the $500 vets credit, but we needed their trust documentation, declaration of trust, which we finally got. So this one is two places to sign. One is the veterans tax credit because the tax bills have already gone out, and the other, I need a sticky. We don't have any stickies up here, do we? I'll put it on top.
Yeah.
Thanks. Right here. Okay, here's one. And then the other things to be signed are in the to be signed. We did get an updated certificate of insurance from Pinard for the licensing agreement. And there is a letter that we do this every year, that we will, if we receive the appropriation for the Household Hazardous Waste Day. And then the Birch Hill Kennel contract, Catherine said that the board had approved the appropriation, so I don't know when you wanted to sign the contract.
Anytime we approved it.
Okay, so then that would need to be signed.
Yeah, I think this one doesn't take effect until January 1st. Or January to December, right? Yeah, you're right, they are.
Just to give a brief update on the police station study, we will be meeting again Monday night. I'll have an estimate for the well
Mm-hmm.
I did
And,
not talk to Scott because I read your email.
okay. And also Tim Joubert will be there,
Good.
okay? I still have not been able to contact Liberty yet. I just,
Liberty Gas.
Liberty Gas, to see what, because there is gas up there, but there's no gas line in front of where we are. And then I did call First Light and explain why I was calling, but no one has returned my call, so I'll keep following up with that. And then if I could just have a brief non-public with the board, very brief, with Tim on land acquisition. Tax deed update, did you get my email? I sent you pictures of the interior. It really isn't that bad, it just needs a good cleaning. A really good cleaning. It's quite nice, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, there's closets, nice kitchen, nice yard, 2 sheds. The heating system needs to be repaired, but it's just one of those propane units, LP.
Is it a mobile, it must be a mobile home unit?
Yes,
Small.
yeah, just typical that they have. I don't know about the hot water heater or anything like that, but they do have, it's water through the park. We had the plumbing weatherized and the water's been shut off. I talked with one of the police officers, well actually the sergeant, because we've had difficulty, Tim and I have both been trying to get in touch with the electric company to change the power over. And I was trying to decide, well, we're going to turn the electric off, we're going to leave the electric on, what are we going to do? And the sergeant suggested leaving the electric on. It doesn't really cost that much. It costs more to have things turned on and shut off, and also, if that way we can keep an outside light on, or if we want to go in there and check it, that it would just
And
be
as the
better.
police ever had to go over there because of vandalism.
Right.
It'd be easier. Yeah,
Right.
That's a good idea.
The highway department still hasn't had a chance to change the lock yet, but they assure me that next week that they will. A number of people have inquired about it. I did talk with Greg Pefferly finally. I still haven't mailed the 9090 letters because I wanted to make sure that we got through the process of having him evicted, and we now have possession of the property and the condition that it's in, because we didn't know is there any hazardous waste or anything. So now everything's good. I feel good about what we're doing, so we can go ahead and auction it. I haven't heard anything else back from the park owner. He's welcome to come bid. At the time, he had already said at the meeting that he would be willing to pre-qualify any bidders that wanted to bid. So we've had to move the date back to either the second or third weekend of February. And
And the auctioneer will come in and talk to us beforehand, right?
pardon me,
The auctioneer will come in and talk to us beforehand.
if you want to. I
Well, I
need a
just-
date
I would
to send in the
like,
letters.
I think we need a broader advertising spectrum, I
Oh.
guess.
Sure,
I just
anything
think-
we want.
And the question I think the board needs, one of the other questions for the board is, do we want to sell the property up on, what is it, High Street Extension?
Right.
Or it was suggested a place for gardening.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that means a conservation type deed for it. I don't know.
True, but for me to send the letters, I have to give an auction date.
Okay, but if so, I mean, would it make any difference if we wanted to add this to the
Oh,
auction?
no, not at all.
Okay, so it isn't going to affect the date or the timing? or
I just
anything?
wanted to make sure that there were some selectmen around either the second or third week in February, weekend. I think we've done them on Saturday,
I think so too.
so he said he's open.
I'd like to leave that High Street as a potential. I think there's a lot of people that live in the village district that would really enjoy a community garden up in that area. They have
Everybody think of that idea, community garden on the High Street property instead of selling it for a homestead.
What's the lot value?
Don't know.
I have no idea. We can look it up, I guess.
I know we did get a bid, but then he
Backed out.
backed out.
Backed out, yeah.
And it was very low. It was
Chief.
for the- It was for the,
Do we know the address on High Street?
No, because it's vacant land. Wouldn't have a street number. Be under town of Tilton.
So just search.
So if someone is shot on the vacant lot, I'll have to say between this house and this house, because the lot isn't recognized as a number,
It's gotta be numbered in the 911 system
I
anyway,
would think.
I would think, no?
No, because it goes to a telephone line.
Town of Tilton, okay, High
How
Street.
do you find it in your tax log then?
Map and lot,
PID,
owner and map and lot. If there's no structure on it, there's no numbers. 'Cause and they also go by where the driveway is.
So that one would be High Street.
Well, this can't be, it says High Street, but it,
property we own on High Street. Go to the tax map.
well, I put High Street, watch, I put,
It's U7-9.
Do you have its
So-
value?
okay,
we haven't got
U7 dash 9.
U7-9.
U7-9. Okay. Now, I have someone else's name there.
Well, let's, it isn't going, we have time. You can send your letters out. Why don't, in the meantime, we generate a conversation with the Conservation Commission? Because there needs to be some steward of that.
Right.
And it seemed to me, we're conserving the green space, that they should be involved.
That's not it, Tim.
What do you think?
It's 9-01.
Would they still be able to garden on it?
Oh, 01, sublot 1,
Sublot
okay.
1.
That's not what,
That's when
okay.
the Conservation Commission would, okay. Because the Conservation Commission will meet in what, 2 weeks?
Value is 44,000.
Can you get that to Chuck's attention so they can discuss it at their next meeting, Joyce?
They had talked about it once before, before it went for auction. They said they weren't interested, but things may have changed since then.
Well, if we tell them the selectmen are entertaining the idea of turning into community gardens and
Okay.
would like them to. And then next week we can have the tax card for it, so we'll know how much it's assessed for, and
Okay.
we don't have to make a decision for a while.
Know what the last bid amount was?
It was
44,000? No, yeah,
That lot?
the bid?
Oh, the bid was
29.
Oh, there it is.
26.
26, I think it
Was
was.
it 26,000?
Town values at
But it fell
44,000.
through. There were 3 bids, and it fell through.
I think it was concerned
Yeah,
about
that's
land.
it's lot, it's sublot 1, there's 2 lots.
U791.
Lot, sub 1.
Okay, next, those are all the projects that are still pending. I have nothing to report on those. And then other items, what I'm going to be working on this next week and the week after is I'll have all the open enrollment mailing materials to go out to all the active employees and retirees. And by law, there are so many documents I have to send out. So it's quite a process. Virtual kennels agreement, I just gave you to sign. The town hall maintenance and repair items we'll talk under when we do the budget. Heating system has been serviced for the year, and the lift has been serviced for the year. And as far as I know, the other thing I have to check and make sure is the water been turned off here. Do we do that, or does the...
I did not ask him to turn the water on.
Okay, so the water, I did plug in the heat tape for the
Oh, good.
thing, and we need to turn the switch on there for the... Oh, what happened to that? Does that wire, because before that coil came out the end of the pipe, but now it goes into the ground. That must still be in there. For the gutter.
Did they put the gutter into the ground?
Yeah, goes into the ground and underneath the sidewalk.
Really?
From onions, you mean?
No,
about
ours
here.
out here. Turn
I didn't
more
even
on.
notice. Must be still in there.
Okay, so you know where the switch is up in your Okay. So turn on gutter
Sure, I could
switch.
find it, but
Better turn that on fairly soon because it's supposed to be a storm this weekend.
Yeah.
I'd turn it on right
You
now,
want me to go do that right now?
right now,
Okay.
because that's
And then
a
that's
horrible
all.
thing
Saturday night.
if we forget.
I have something for highway that I'd like you to bring to their attention.
Okay.
We need to get the highway department up here to securely shut all these windows, lock them, and then maybe put some caulking along the bottom of the sill because we're losing heat. One of these windows isn't shut all the way, because I know I was talking to somebody and noticed it, and I couldn't get it to seat all the way.
Need to get him up here.
That was Gunstock today.
First
And
snowman.
it's a snowman. Today,
Where's that?
I saw it at
Gunstock.
Gunstock,
No kidding.
the first snowman.
Catherine, your light's on in the office, you know that?
The last week I stumbled up there to get my stuff, so I left it on. I'm gonna get a night light that goes on and off automatically with dusk and dawn.
Okay, highway. You said,
I got a call from a resident on the corner of Cedar and Maple Court. And over the years, I think we've brought this up occasionally. It's come up back when Dennis was here. When the trucks, garbage, plow trucks, whatever, they come up Maple Court and they take a right into Poplar Street. Over the years, it encroaches more and more onto his property. So now you don't have a definitive right-hand turn. You sort of have a semicircle, if you would, and it's a good 4 or 5 feet onto his property. And it's getting worse now with the garbage trucks as they back up and into it. And he's afraid of the winter. He'd really like to put some stakes up. Doesn't really know definitively where the property actually was, so it's kind of a conundrum to him. But we've talked about this in the last 6 or 7 years.
So we need to research Poplar Street, how it came about, what the layout was, how wide it is.
When Dennis was director, they used to come up and then take a right-hand swing into Poplar, which took away some of that boundary away from his property. And he has like on the edge of his property, it goes up a bit, but now you could see his property, most of his property goes up except the corner. Now it's just completely flat. They stopped doing that. The plows would come up Maple Court, drop at the end of Maple Court, and then back down, and then right-hand turn into Poplar. So that would alleviate some of that over the years. But now you see a lot of the dump truck, the garbage trucks doing that now too. So he's pretty concerned.
okay.
So we relay that message back to him. I know he's been out for a couple of days, so if he went and talked with the owner, that would be great.
Is there a street sign on the other corner?
Just a pole on the pole on the corner of my property.
On your,
Mhm.
maybe they could move that to the other corner. Discourage
The pole?
people.
No,
Gotta
because
locate the
the
corner.
lines go.
Locate the corner and put
It's a
it
good
more
idea.
appropriate, so it.
It's a good
looks
idea.
better.
Very good idea.
The utilities come down, and then they go down the left-hand side of Poplar. So in order to put the pole on the opposite side, then they would have to move all of the poles on Poplar over to the right-hand side of Poplar.
Maybe just like a steel post.
Oh, a steel post, yeah, he would really like something,
Yeah,
It
that would
would
be more
define-
permanent than just grade stakes.
just
And then
something.
it would be the town's property that they'd be destroying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a sign that he put up.
Right.
Okay.
It wouldn't be hidden on blocks or
Yeah,
something like that.
Anybody else? I think that's a plan to
Just check it.
go forward and come up with something on?
Yep.
Once we find whose property's where, sure.
Catch a car.
Yeah, that's the first step.
Rock fence.
Maybe Monday.
Okay.
Just thinking about looking through those books.
Are those up here, or are they still downstairs?
Cindy's got them in the safe, what we have
The
left.
road books?
No, the road books.
I think they're still downstairs.
I think we're still down on that,
Oh, no,
Ah,
I
check
see
it.
them, I see them, they're over there.
I think. I'm curious, I
The
gotta
blue ones.
You have to see the width of maple. That would define width of poplar, and then you've got it. Because it clearly defines the edge on the left of poplar. You could see.
All right. Budget, are you all set, Joyce, with us?
Yeah, Tim, we're
Yes.
ready for budget.
Oh, all right. When are we gonna do
Oh,
the,
I'm sorry.
Under the item.
Go ahead and come up. Yep,
Pending projects.
Yep.
That's safety lights.
oh, here,
Yeah.
don't I have that on my list of things?
I
In the
think,
budget?
didn't you say you wanted to put it in your list on what you wanted to update in
Yes,
2018?
I'm gonna try and do them this year.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
That should be pretty.
Yep.
The other thing was, the setback thermostat building so that after 9 PM, temperature sets back and then starts back up early in the morning. So a lot of times at night, people leave the building.
So it shuts off and turns on, so you can
Shuts
a programmable one, you
Yeah,
mean?
it's
Okay.
programmable, so, at
Yep.
9 o'clock, it's in back.
Oh, we need, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
Can't eat one.
Those usually pay for themselves.
Maple Court was born in October of
Seems like that's a good idea. Maybe
1886.
there's another better heating control system. It's more like heatings or you don't get.
oh, there are a lot, but, I don't know one off the top of my head.
Yes, you know, as opposed to having to dive, because when committees meet and they leave, the last thing that, set temperature back 5-10 degrees, like we all do that at home. So
Right, I think what we found, because the building is just not, it's hard to control the temperature in the building. So we've just put signs up telling people, don't touch the thermostats.
Yep.
Just don't touch them, just leave them alone. Because when they do that, when you first, for those people that come in the first thing early in the morning, certain areas are like really, really cold. Because it's the way things are configured and where the thermostats are. So, we can do that, but I can tell you right now, there are gonna be offices that are gonna be, if it's turned down in the morning, they're gonna be very, very cold in the, and it's gonna take a while for it to heat up.
Turned up in the morning.
It'll automatically be turned up,
Yeah, it can start at 6.
Yeah, you can programmable, yeah.
Yeah,
so you can set it, so,
so by the time.
When you come in, it's warm,
Yeah.
but at 3 o'clock in the morning, it might be 5 degrees less.
okay. And then we'd still keep signs on saying, don't touch the
Don't touch.
So the
thermostats.
thing is, yeah, don't touch them and have like one person make the changes to it.
Okay.
Fine to maybe add a degree, another 10 minutes in the morning earlier or something.
Up the street must have been part of a subdivision.
You know, the old saying that the, what is it, the cobbler, the shoemaker's kids don't get shoes? That's kind of how it is with that one line item on town hall maintenance, is that other things, you know, we get to year end and people come in with wanting to encumber things, which I think we should stop doing that. If you didn't plan on it, get it in that year, budget for it next year. Because, so those things just kind of always fall back on the bottom of the list.
Town hall things get
Yes,
brushed off.
yes.
Was it 10 or 15 years ago we had planned to replace the carpeting downstairs?
I'd say
We've
at
talked
least
about
7
that
years,
for-
at least 7 years.
Joyce retired.
9 years I've been here, and every year it's brought up, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's one of the things we want to go through the list, and what I'd like to do on those projects is have them as warrant articles so that the money can't be spent on anything else.
With the warrant article, you risk the,
Like the carpeting.
I know, but then you also risk and say, well, okay, if you bundle them together and say the carpet and this and this and this, warrant article, and then you say, okay, then maybe we'll do it without this, but don't do the carpeting. You risk that.
but couldn't we just use frugal spending? I mean, it's like right now, look at our budget. We can really predict what we need to the end of December. We really can. If we had a good bid on carpeting, we could say, all right, we have the money, let's put the carpeting in. Then you don't have to raise and appropriate it again. You've already raised and appropriated, they've already paid for it, it's done.
Well, it depends too, the extent to which you do the carpeting. Is it the traffic areas that you put something down, or is it throughout? So,
I mean, a lot of times, I like warrant articles, but sometimes it's really hard to get people who aren't in this building to understand the needs of the building. For example, making an office space over here where we've got a perfectly good space that we really can't use unless we do some work to it.
Well, some of these things, because they're, say, if anything's over 10,000 or even 5,000, I think it should be in a separate article, because it's not part of your regular operating budget. You're making
It's an
a
extra.
long-term improvement to your assets, so either a capital project or with a special warrant article, is all. That's all I'm saying.
Could you create a reserve fund?
For town hall improvements, it would have to be a significant capital project.
Carpeting
Well-
probably would be, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, you've got at least 10,000 for carpeting, you've got pointing
At least
going
10,
on.
you're talking 20,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know,
okay,
that's what I'm
okay.
saying, at least. And then you've got the pointing that Stonehenge is gonna
Yep.
get back to
Yep,
us.
which they still haven't yet, but I
Yeah.
have names of some other
And-
people to contact.
Well, he said that he could do it, because he and his dad did this pointing, and he could do it. It's just a matter of getting together the estimate. You have that, we have other work that we wanna get done here to update. So, I
Well,
mean, there's.
Do we want to go through that now, or go through the town admin budget?
So,
well,
Okay.
But
So-
I would think maybe even consider a capital reserve for all the buildings, because then, you're not tied to this if something catastrophic
for
happens
town-owned buildings?
somewhere else, yeah.
Well, let's consider that. What does everybody think? I mean, that way, if you know you're gonna replace the carpeting, it's like eventually this roof's gonna have to be replaced again.
That's on the list? Is that
Well,
on here? Can
that's
we
not
put that on
cheap.
here?
So rather than taking the hit in 1 year,
Okay,
you
yeah,
could
the,
appropriate amounts to reach a goal and have a plan, have a maintenance
If you
schedule.
just think of the town
Turn
hall
the seams.
ones alone, I mean, if you think about it, the senior center, we just replaced the roof. We're going after a new PD, so chances of that using the capital investment, but there are things that we want to do at the highway garage, particularly with the salt bay and a couple of other things. But mainly here, there's a good amount of money here. And if spread out over the years,
Yeah.
we can get it done.
I'll
So
see
I
if we
agree
can.
with
Can you
it.
work on that?
I-
The highway
if
garage
there's a
is what,
capital reserve
17,
fund.
17 years old
I
now?
think what we need to, before we even start, is a survey, a capital asset survey of what we have, the age and the condition.
As far as buildings, you mean?
We have an asset
Where
survey with the,
pretty much have
A
that.
survey, Okay, how old is, do
Well,
we
but
have?
we-
it written how
It's
old the
updated.
road is here?
It's not
Do we have,
to that extent, right?
because that's what the proper way to manage property is to list the ages of all your mechanical systems, your
Major
structures,
systems.
Yeah.
and other work, and the dates it was done, so you project the life of the cost, and then you can then come up with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
number.
Well, that would give you the maintenance schedule plan, wouldn't it? Okay, but
So-
in the meantime, you can look into whether or not we can form the reserve.
Yep.
All right, plan.
So, all right, well, you all have the list of the maintenance repair items.
You?
Yep.
It's in the budget list.
I should have put it right on the top of your folder. I didn't put it in the folder.
Okay, got it.
Is
It's
this
inside.
recent?
Mine's inside the folder.
Um,
Yep, got it.
one of the things that's,
What? On my inside?
Yes, on the right-hand side.
The empty side.
okay, well, I also put another copy right on top, just in case
This
those
is
of you
on the
still
left?
didn't have it
It's on
from
the opposite of this.
prior weeks.
It's on the back of this, right there,
Oh, there
right
you
at the top.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so why don't we go through and just say, like, what's an annual thing? Right from the start, because this, we just threw everything down on a piece of paper. You still don't have it?
No, I didn't get called on when I was doing this, so I figured if I waved my arms, I might get called on. That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I was looking for
Just
mine.
saying.
I was looking for mine.
I have a question on the town hall
It's on the
carpet.
back of this.
Yes.
What is underneath it?
Oh, I mean, I have
Subfloor or
this.
tile?
Okay. All right, that's what she's going at then.
Yeah, it is assorted.
Is in assorted tile or some subfloor,
No,
some
there is
tile?
some subfloor. Yes, because they pulled up, the last people that gave us an estimate, they pulled up between the underneath the copy room door.
'Cause to me, carpets are kind of nasty. I'd do the runners. I'd do some sort of tile that's easy to clean. If you have spills, whatever, and you have runners that you do like
Last
in
one.
the other buildings.
Well, that was one of the issues when we were going with carpet. We were trying to decide how much carpet and how much should be tile. And the board could not reach a consensus.
We got a new board.
I personally think that your lobby area and your two hallways should be tile, and it should be the same as what's in the town out in front now, because that's good tile that the town purchased there, and that the offices and the meeting room should be carpet. It helps with sound and keeping things warm. It has an insulating factor, and then you can do like other places do, especially in the winter months. You just rent those runners that they come in, they take them out, or you buy them and then you clean.
Is the
like a
carpet
clean-
more efficient than insulating the floor joists underneath?
I'm just saying, it makes a nice work environment to have.
I'm just looking at
offices
cost,
carpeted.
maintenance over the life, and it's just, to me, carpets are gonna be more of an issue.
Meeting room downstairs, there's a lot of food stuff going on down there. Remember the dead body silhouette?
I was thinking of that, yeah.
Yeah,
That will say-
so did you want, whatever the board wants,
I'd go with the tile.
tile for everything,
And, no, in the offices, to go with.
tile and carpet in the office.
In the hallway, in the meeting room, and then go with the carpet in the offices.
Okay,
I think it's warmer.
okay.
Ashley, what do you think?
What color do you think we have?
Sky blue paint.
I say, we found the color that would stand on the basement. I've got the swatches of what we have now, which that's lasted for what, 20 some odd years?
Yeah.
And I was told by two people that came to give me estimates that the tile that the town purchased in the front is really good tile. It's good. So if we could match that.
Tile everywhere, carpet everywhere, tile and carpet.
Tile and carpet. Offices,
Okay.
good carpet.
I think I agree with Peter. Tile everywhere and use runners.
Tile.
Because tile typically, isn't there backing under it so it's not as rigid as what people would think? It's not like ceramic tile.
Well, those are ceramic
Those are
tiles.
ceramic
Ceramic, but isn't there still like a cushioning effect to them when they put them in? I don't know. I don't live in a house with any
No.
tile.
It's
They
a,
ain't grown down, so they don't
Okay.
mix it in the crop requirement.
Unless you do vinyl.
I'm still kind of with the tile everywhere and carpet runners because for people with allergies, carpets are pretty bad. Anyway, all right, go forward.
And the other thing with carpeting, there's, you have to pay extra for having someone move everything. And you'd have to do it, have a company, and there are companies that will do it. I found a company in Manchester that they would do it at evenings and weekend. But the adhesives that they use are very, not toxic, pungent, I guess. So if you wanted to remain open and do it, you have to do it over a length of time. It'd be very disruptive to different offices because you're trying to do different offices. And also you'd have to pay someone to move the safes and all the
would the tile,
furniture.
would tile withstand the safe?
As long as it wasn't dropped on it.
Would what?
Would
It's
the
not an
tile
easy-
withstand the weight of the
It's not an
the
easy
safe?
I wouldn't think so.
carpeting thing. We'd have to get somebody big. Like Home Depot's big enough, they could do it. Home Depot. Home Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
They did it the last time, and there's a company in Manchester that they do a lot of banks and things, so they're used to doing projects in the evening, but it would have to be done in the summer.
But would it be able to sit back on a tile that we choose?
Why don't you just tile up to it?
Is that safe?
The safe?
You cannot run safe
Hmm?
over ceramic tile
Yeah.
without cracking and breaking.
Only
Cindy
the
would like
offices
that
and the
safe
meeting
gone
room would
anyway,
have
and I
carpeting.
thought we had somebody that was interested in purchasing it.
It was the church up in Samberton, but then they declined it.
No, there was somebody else.
What are they talking about?
The safe,
The safe in Cindy's office, the
Oh, yeah.
small one.
Yeah.
She's always wanted that out of there, and we had somebody very interested in it. But, well,
Has to
I
be
won't go
this
into
way.
why they didn't take it,
nobody
but
wants to pay to take the window out.
we should, if we're going to do this, if she still wants that safe gone, we should get it out of there and scrap it.
Okay, so we could make that part of the RFP.
Uh-huh.
So,
So only the big safe would stay.
yeah, but she's got all those other heavy safes as well, and
Well,
she's
she-
got the fireproof
She
cabinets
has
as
the
well.
filing cabinets.
Yeah, there's only,
It's only the two safes.
two safes there. The
But
other
those
safe is the wall.
fireproof filing cabinets are
The
heavy.
big safe should keep, because that's
Yes.
what she uses all the time, but
Right.
then there's the smaller one, they're kind of just using it as a book.
It's the old post office safe, isn't it?
Right, but she
Right.
also has the one that,
Williams.
the, next to the door that they keep all the state things in.
That's right,
And then
there's
she's
three.
got 1, 2,
There's three.
3, 4 fireproof safes that are heavy.
Well, cabinets.
That's why I said copy her,
Cabinets, well, they
her
lock,
office.
yeah, everything.
Much safer.
Well, find
Copy
out,
it
I know
off.
she is,
Oh, yeah.
for years, has
Yeah.
wanted to get that small one out of there because they have no use
Oh, well,
for
then
it.
part is the RFP, then they have to
In
dispose of
any
that
event, we
safe.
should get it out of there anyway,
Okay.
because we've been
Okay,
trying to
the
get-
last estimate I had was in 2016, that was for $19,000, and that didn't include moving any of the furniture, we'd have to do that. And I highly recommend that you don't use the highway department because it's just too much of a liability.
But that was carpet everywhere, correct?
No, that was just the 2 lobbies,
With
tile,
tile.
and everything else carpet.
All right, so you're gonna, down, because 3 want carpet, just the offices, and tile everywhere else. Okay. And you'll get a price for,
I'm gonna put it out to bid,
put it out to bid.
but this
Put
is
it
a
out
project that will be done.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
that's,
would,
that's the number 1 priority.
Small battle.
Yeah, we
Talk
really
to
need to
some
get
of
that.
our multi-contractors, like, wasn't it David Huckins that moved it across the room for her?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then the next
About getting
pri,
the safe out?
the next,
Go ahead, Joyce. I'm
okay, the
sorry.
next priority are the safety lights
I'll let you back.
and the thermostats.
Can we get the safety lights in 2017?
I think we can. I mean, I've only got, what, a couple thousand left in that? And we still have expenses coming from that line item? We've got, what,
How many safety lights are we
$2,000
looking
left?
at?
Oh, I didn't bring that up here.
Are we looking at under 500 or are we looking at more than $500?
There's about $4,400 left in that line.
But we only have 20,000 budgeted and we've spent
I would say
15.
under about under 700.
Yeah, it's 4,400.
Under 700?
That's high.
So I would say, if we put, let's try to get that under 2017, then we've got it done.
Yeah, get it done, don't have to raise the money again.
Pretty simple thing, fixtures are $50 each or less, and it's 2 wire nuts.
Okay, so safety lights, okay. The next thing is security improvements. This comes up every time we have a joint loss management committee meeting. And we have a plan, but we just can't seem to come up with something to present. But
I thought we had security cameras.
we do. But we
don't have
wanted
them
to,
on- We don't have the buzzers.
right, and putting security cameras up here, but creating a lobby area at the school street entrance, and then putting in some sort of half door from coming into the back hallway from the front door, where we could have like a card system where we can use to get in and out. And when an employee leaves, you just reprogram their card. And then have cameras be able to buzz people in.
Put a chip in them.
I'm just, who's gonna do the buzzing?
Do we need that in town hall?
What about committee meetings?
Yeah, do we need all that for,
They can have cards.
I think,
that for, is it there an issue?
For security?
Yeah,
Yes.
there is.
well,
Employees.
there's a perceived issue. It's not that something has happened.
Right.
Or
Well, that's
there
what I'm
is a
asking, does something
possible
happen that we
No,
should be
no,
aware of?
No, it's
Okay.
perceived,
No,
this is
issue.
just, most town halls segregate the public from regular offices.
I don't think a half door is gonna do that. I'll leap right over it.
Well, yeah, or Cindy's counter. You want me to do what?
Right now, we just, anybody can just walk right in and wander around, and nobody would know that they were there. They could stay in here all night. There's no one that like does a sweep at night. Buildings open at night when they have committee meetings and things. Yes, we're a public building, but we do have employees that are working here, and we have assets to protect, as well as your employees.
Well, if you're really gonna do that, then you're gonna have to think about how do we lock the lift? Because when we walk down and lock this door,
Right.
which I was
So,
just silly
I mean,
doing.
we-
I have my keys. Oh, I can go up to the lift.
I know, we've
That's pretty simple.
How many times have we done
discussed
that?
it, and we've had an expert come in from,
Mhm.
we did our shelter-in-place workshop.
What are cameras, or
Yeah.
what's all that gonna do to prevent somebody from walking around in the building? Because the door's open during business hours.
Well, what we could do is, well, the one down here on School Street was gonna be a wall. I mean, it wouldn't be all the way to the ceiling, but enough so that, because there's a heat register there, so you have to let the heat the building on that register. So we could have a camera, and then we could buzz people in.
Yeah, I'm not on the joint loss committee, but I got a preview of it today, this morning. And so the idea would be someone handicapped could come in, or other person could come into that lobby area, but there'd be a wall and a door, say between where Gail's office is and my office. And that would be an electronic lock on there. So if you're an employee or someone that has a key card, you could swipe in and get in. And otherwise, you'd press a button and someone would have to buzz you in.
Don't we
So-
still have Tom's sign-in,
Yeah, no.
the handprint?
I never stuck my hand
No,
in
we
it.
got-
I'm
we
very
got-
proud of that.
Happy to say that's been long gone. But, so,
Yeah.
so there was that one back there, and then the other one, it sounded like there was gonna be, where was it, on the front side, just before you get to the copy room, going across a similar kind of door there.
True, but if you were,
Was that where it was supposed to be?
yeah, but if you were saying how to keep them from jumping over, we'd have to do a similar thing like we're doing back here in that front hallway. So when someone comes in the lobby, here's the end of Cindy's office and the wall. We'd have to put it there, but make it go up.
Right, and the way it was described to me, it wouldn't be floor to ceiling down in the back hallway. It would be what,
3/4,
3/4 or?
5/8, whatever.
It's
You'd
not
have to
something you
leave
could jump
space for heat
So you could do
too.
some kind of wrought iron thing or aluminum, because that's cheaper than wrought iron, so it actually could be decorative and look through. But the practicality is, like, for example, today, who would have buzzed anybody through? The only people downstairs was the town clerk and the deputy. Not this morning. Not when I came in. My town hall was open. But, you know, your call to the PD, I mean, everybody has things they have to do that takes them out of this office, so that's my point, is who buzzes
Right,
them
but if
through?
offices, especially up
People
here,
you buzz through,
people wanted to come upstairs.
and how do you know that after they got buzzed through, that they wouldn't become a harm then?
Well, that's the way I look at it too.
So-
You just don't know.
Yeah.
you know.
You know, one of the things,
I think that-
they have it at the, I think Gillington has it, they have a back door, somewhere that's downstairs. And what they installed is a pretty simple thing. It's an intercom system that has a little camera on it, they can see it. They have one in the selectman's office, or the town clerk's office, and somebody will buzz it. They pick it up and they just buzz it on the door and let them in. All employees can automatically.
That's the same thing,
That's what-
But it keeps them outside the building.
but you still don't know who you're buzzing through.
Well, if you can see them,
You see the
Okay,
We
so
know
for
they're
example,
there.
and there's an intercom on it.
I've had trauma in my life. Everybody knows me. I come up to the door and it's just possible, buzzer through. How do they know I haven't had some kind of mental schizoid breakdown and I'm gonna take my life's turmoils and
Don't
everybody else?
answer that.
That's what happened.
No, I
you
mean,
do.
most people, they come in the back, when we're in the back door, they come in and they look around, they say, can we help you? What do you need? And they tell them, well, I need building permit, I need to register my car, I need to see Heather, I need to do whatever, and we tell them where to go, so.
And unless we're gonna lock the finance door and the administrative assistant's door, you're getting them into the lobby and so you guys are the sitting ducks? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
It
Plus the
seems
fact-
to me,
No.
Plus the
Means
fact
somebody
if
coming
you,
in to
if
help
you're
you
the
get
only
in.
one in here, Tim's up at the PD, Daryl's on vacation, or Gail, or you're on
so
vacation.
it's just me and Kim, which is usually
Yeah,
the case.
which, on a Friday, okay. What happens then? I mean, somebody comes in.
Well, they're still gonna come right into the lobby if it's gonna be for the town clerk tax collector.
they're still gonna come in this back
And
door.
who's stopping them from coming around and coming in like they always do? Hey, just wanted to say hi.
So it
No,
seems to
because
me
they
on
wouldn't
your,
be able to get beyond here, or if they wanted to go upstairs, then we could buzz and say, Dari, someone's coming upstairs.
I would love to avoid situations like we had in the last 8 or 9 months ago with land use and the ongoing showing up of certain people that keep coming in and
oh,
causing issues. Those are the kinds of things that I would like to avoid, but, and that's the scenario in which you could possibly do, but
you
then.
really couldn't, that was a property owner who.
Right, exactly, and
You
that,
deny them.
exactly what I was gonna say, but then on the other hand, if you have to, you're gonna have to allow something like that, because it's a property owner and you're gonna take the chance and say, okay, now you've got door closers and buzzers and how are you
So-
gonna get out?
The least expensive way to look at this and under your list is really, isn't it the security cameras and the buzz, well, I don't know about the buzzer, but additional security cameras upstairs? I mean, wouldn't that be the least expensive route to travel right now? You have the cameras, so people would, you know, when you open the door, it buzzes. okay, the door's open, or there's some kind of alert. So you know if somebody's in the building. If you feel you need to look, you can look at the monitor, see who it is. I mean, 90% of your traffic, well, maybe not 90, but 75% of your traffic comes into the front lobby. It doesn't go any further. Or they might go to the back table to do some paperwork.
Security camera's not gonna protect you at all.
No.
No, but buzzing somebody into the building isn't going to protect you either.
I think it's worth looking into. I think it's really worth researching and looking into different options. I do, but I don't think it's,
I think we definitely need more cameras.
yeah.
Yeah, there's some employees that feel very, very strongly about this, it sounds like. Is that right?
I would say at least 4. 4 of the town
We have
halls
panic
back. This is a
buttons.
constant theme.
I'm not sure where mine is, but we do have panic buttons.
Could we possibly,
remember hers.
for this, do it in, getting more security cameras and doing it sort of in steps?
Yes, and then our plan, but see, before, you would have escape plans, but now it's like you need to shelter in place. That changed, that whole, you were at that when we had that. So we each need, now will any of these desks and things that we're getting?
So you're gonna shelter in place?
Will they,
I hear gunfire, I'm going up the opposite end of the building. I'm not gonna wait
Yeah,
around.
isn't that the thing if you can?
Shelter in place.
I'm going to grab my
That's only if you wanna
camera.
be one of the victims.
Well, yeah, the last I heard, Alice, you're supposed to, get out.
That's what the
when you
teachers said.
can, but the immediate thing is to
If you
shelter
have
in
a
place.
clear exit, you're supposed to get out. If you don't, you're supposed to, well, I call it cower behind your desk, but shelter in place, I guess is the right term.
Like, yeah, if someone's knocking on the door,
I think if we definitely make some movement
I'm hiding.
on
I like that.
installing more cameras and that we have our and we can even do some evacuation drills and things.
We spend a
Different
lot of,
scenarios on how to get out.
Also, there was that door that they had recommended between the back of the land use into the selectman's office to create that internal. I forget
Yes,
what
so that we
they're
could have
called.
an eternal, right.
I think that this is really something that we need. I don't think bringing it now, right now where the budget's so close to be put together, is kind of tight for us. We spend lots of money for safety for our employees in the PD,
Yeah.
for our employees in highway. There's no doubt that we wouldn't spend that money for the safety of employees in the town hall.
Okay.
I have absolutely no qualms about that. However, I would really like to research the options to where, what is the most effective and economical
Yep.
to
Would
me.
it make sense for us to go forward and have a plan and get some more cameras installed this year into this budget? Because it's not only for safety, it's also for liability. If somebody gets, especially up here, there's a lot of activity up here now.
Right, and I
Somebody
think-
comes up and accuses somebody or something,
Right,
gets
it's good
hurt,
to have them on,
then we have them on camera and we know what really took place.
are you warm? Do you want me to go back and open that door?
It's hot.
The other thing I want to bring up is, because I want to get some things accomplished before I leave, is that I've always wanted to get Heather up from underneath the stairs. So this is a proposal, and that's why Tim is here. But I think it would work. That we, how do I want to say this? That we give Heather Tim's office, okay? She's not there that often, but the day may come when you may have to hire another part-time person, or you may have, if someone leaves and you want to combine positions, it just gives you a little more, more options, and you have a space to put them, because underneath the stairs is not an optimal space, whether they're part-time or full-time. The other thing I've wanted to do is to try and keep IT and finance separate, okay? Right now, because we're doing more and more IT, there really isn't, you see the small space that he works in down there.
Where are you going to put him?
Well, this is
Just talk,
Yeah,
come and do
I'm
it.
waiting to hear. I can't wait to hear.
Well, no, this is what we had talked about.
Yeah.
Sounds a little different, but that's okay.
Well, I'm just where I'm going.
Go ahead.
Those are two needs I'm thinking of,
You're
okay?
gonna be out in
And
the
safety,
drop
safety
down.
for Heather.
It's
And,
about Heather.
Coming a beer?
I mean, pretty soon he's not gonna be able to fit in that office because there's just gonna be more servers and equipment and everything in there. And plus he needs room to work on some of these things. And they really are two separate positions, okay? If you were to leave, it would be very difficult to ever find anybody that could do both the things that he does, okay?
We're lucky to have them, let's go on.
All right, and also with me leaving, you may be swapping, we don't know what you're gonna do yet,
Yeah.
okay? So optimally, if we could put Tim in the land use office, he has certain conditions if he goes in there.
The airless cubbyhole.
No, but we could partition off, that's one of the reasons why Josh was
That's a
here, was to
timeout
move,
room.
what would it cost to move the ceiling fan? He wouldn't have to worry about getting his head
So now you're
sliced.
putting a petition in to make the room smaller.
No, but, well, it's a lot bigger than his office, but he could have, the one side would be all the IT stuff, separate from finance, and he'd have a door into the hallway, correct?
I'm with you on the
Have a
whole-
window, a window in the door, a
Looking at-
window in the door, okay. Also, we got a price for a window in the existing door down there, so there'd be two windows.
To get look into the hallways.
No, but the second needs an egress, but you tell them, what you.
Well, okay, so it's maybe not ideal for me. I've thought about.
We'll
this
give you
rule
some
that
plants.
We've kicked around.
Jeez.
Losing a window means a lot to me. However,
But you can't open
you
it.
can't open that window because part of it is built behind the wall, so you can't reach it anyway to open.
You can't move
And-
in that office time.
And I do get a lot of free equipment, which oftentimes doesn't come complete, so I might have to add a part or, order a license. I mean, I've been much more fortunate recently where I've gotten complete systems.
And how many times have you hit your head?
Just once. What Joyce is referring to is I was determined to open that window one day, and I got up on top of the desk, and of course the ceiling fan was running on low, and so you can imagine the rest. But
You can't jump up in your office without hitting the ceiling fan.
No, and you can't open that window
And
without
you
being
can't, in
right
the closet, you hit your head in the closet
Yes.
too.
I remember when the fellow fell
Once in a
through.
while, yep.
It's just,
So the idea would be, I'm not as keen on how it would be arranged, but I would want to keep the door. I'm concerned about the amount of distractions and things like that with the existing door that faces out to the conference area. For me, that wouldn't be great. So there used to be a door because the chief's office was in that space, and there was a door that went out to the hallway. So if just add a door there with a window in it, that's what I would foresee using. And then just let me configure the space for IT and finance, and so that, but I would want to relocate the equipment that's in the basement as well as the equipment that's obviously in my office. So as you may
It'd be
recall, we
cleaner
have money
environment.
we have money for recabling the building, and I've been waiting for kind of the dust to settle to see where everyone's going to be before, looking at what that would be. But we're looking at somewhere around $5,300, $5,500 to do the recabling, and this would set us up for both voice over IP as well as a secure network as well. Because I won't go into the problems with their existing network, but suffice it to say it's old and pretty bad. So we've had to make a lot of patches here and there. But in any event, the money that's left over from MetroCast is about that amount. So we have about $5,300. So we're within $200 or $300 of maybe $500 of what it would cost to recable the building. And we'd see speed improvements. We'd be all set to go to voice over IP phones at the time. At some
The
point.
cabling's gonna get done regardless of who's in what office or space.
Well, however, you
'Cause it
really
needs to get
you
done.
have to have a place of where it's going though.
Right, but
And-
we'd have to choose that anyway.
Right, and I'd want to move the phone system up from the basement. The equipment that's down there, it's really, it's not conducive to electronic equipment in the basement.
So now you're filling this small space that a human is going to share with a lot of equipment.
It's much larger than what I have now, but also, we're getting thousands of dollars worth of equipment on the 21st, of furniture on the 21st donated.
And partitions,
Partitions, a lot of nice furniture.
storage.
I
And
can't see
storage.
moving the equipment upstairs into the land use office. You had me up to that point, because if we ever wanted to reuse that land use office for some other, let's say, we decide, for, off the head here, which hurts right now, put Gail into Tim's office, and then finance and town administrator, whatever combination, they always have to work together, so why not put him in that room right there? I mean, what happens there? Now you've got your old land use office where the finance director, IT, was there. You move them out, you really don't have much use of that office anymore because you have a lot of telephone equipment up on the wall.
Well, so the other idea that was the original idea was to put a wall in the land use office, basically cut it in half and make that most interior portion of the land use office, from the post to the wall that borders Gail's office, be like an IT closet. So it would be somewhere around 8 by 15 roughly, or 8 by 11, something like that. In which case there'd be a door into the hallway, and the equipment would be in there, storage would be in there, that sort of thing.
Sort of kind of next to the closet that's there now.
It would be just on the other side of where the fire panel is.
That would be an idea.
So,
Then it's away, and then if you ever moved out of that office, it still would exist in the building.
right, so I would have the cabling in that vicinity, so that could always be done.
But that's not a decision we need to make tonight.
Would be if you put
But
finance
here,
in there.
And move Heather over into, and the other thing, with the desk that's in the finance office, 2 of those pieces would go away, because one piece is broken, correct?
It's seen better days, yeah.
Okay.
And some of the file drawers had a lot of use.
So that would be more room for her, and she'd have her 2 means of ingress and egress. Because
that's
that
our second
table
way
would
of
be
getting out.
Through
The exit.
through the exit.
So we're going to change the desk configuration.
Right, you won't have that.
We
desk
won't have
piece there.
that desk there. In
You
fact,
would just have the
well,
front portion
the
of the
front
desk.
portion.
I'm going to make a comment on it, but it's going to have to be a non-public comment.
What about,
So why don't we move on, because it really isn't a decision for us to make tonight, and it's already 10:06.
Okay.
So everybody think about this, and individually look and talk to Joyce and Tim, gather more information, and let's talk about this more next week.
If I could just offer up that the furniture is being picked up on the 21st. So
We have a place to store it.
we're working on that. But, so,
Did you want to add anything or ask anything?
no, I think I had some suggestions to add additional, the copy room where the file cabinets are.
Mhm.
A nice office space where it's open at the top.
It's too small
For what?
for, if you put a desk in, if you either put Heather or Tim in there, you would
Smaller than the 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It is smaller than what Tim has now, yeah.
Somewhere I
The other
have
thing is,
the blueprints for this layout
could
downstairs.
the IT stuff fit into where Heather's is? You could put some racks in there and
yeah.
Too hot.
The downside of that is, it also, from my vantage point, it's not central in the building, and it's also got an exterior, entry there. You've got the window, and I just don't see that as secure as something being central to the building where, it's easier to
the size
cable.
of, what size did you say that room would be where the IT
8 by 11.
Well, no,
8 feet by 11 feet is
That's-
really huge for a 19 room.
well, but keep in mind that it's not just the functioning equipment, it's all the other equipment that I store and have ready to be
And put
placed
together.
out. So, you know, there needs to be a, I just don't want to put it down in the basement because it's just so filthy down there. But I've got 8 monitors right now, well, actually more than 8 monitors. I've got multiple systems, ones that are going to be going into the PD in here this next year, and so.
And we'll also have some more room when PD comes in.
All right, so let's move on, and really, everybody,
All right.
take an opportunity to talk to Joyce and Tim.
Yeah, and we'll show you around.
You know, they'll show, Tim will
We'll show you the basement
that
where the
needs to be
equipment is
moved out,
down.
et cetera, et cetera. And I'll see if I can put my hands on those prints. I haven't seen them for years, but
That's really the only line item in the admin budget that needed to be hashed out.
town hall maintenance and repair.
Yep,
All right,
everything
so we
else
have-
is,
Construct a larger kiosk outside town hall.
yeah, it's just too small to put things in.
You know, quite frankly, that's a project the Public Works Department might take over the winter.
Okay,
They plan on fixing the sign at Riverfront Park. The message sign. So that might be something to talk to Brock about,
okay.
if they do that.
The one with the dollar brackets.
So I'll look into starting a capital reserve fund. I'll do an RFP on the carpeting. I'll get in touch with Stonehenge and get that. I'll get going on the safety lights, the thermometers, and then we can work on cameras and things like that for now. Okay.
Construct a larger kiosk outside town hall. How much larger?
I don't know.
Foot, 8 inches,
Oh,
10
no.
inches?
Big old bulletin board.
I know this sounds gaudy, but I had wondered if there wasn't some window that on the interior we could put
Ew.
TV. There are windows there.
I'd be with you, Tim, but
No, there are a lot of people when they're walking downtown, they'll stop and look in the kiosk, but we can only really fit like
It's a tiny
4
kiosk.
things in there.
But we have a lot of contractors in town, and we have a lot of people going for their Eagle Scouts that could probably take on that project for us.
Eagle Scouts. good
Eagle
idea.
Scout would be perfect.
Good idea.
Right. That would be
Perfect.
perfect
Nice.
2018 project for
Okay.
them,
Or,
depending
well,
on
they
how
don't
big
have
it
a shop
was.
at the school anymore, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Do they have woodworking?
where?
At
No,
the high school?
no.
Is there a reason why it couldn't be an
I mean,
electronic
no.
sign? Like
Yeah, it's too gaudy.
Yeah, because when the electricity goes out, that's the end of the sign.
Right.
We have rules and regulations on electronic downtown.
We can scratch off improved sound system and recording equipment. You're all happy with what we have? We have the projector and everything, so we can scratch that off.
Yeah, I am
There are some
getting,
classes on operating that.
yeah, I am getting quotes on speakers here.
Hello?
For the table route, so that everybody can hear.
Right.
And over
also-
there?
Yeah, and I'm looking at recabling the camera directly.
Nice, okay, good.
After
Maybe updating it, it's been there
experiencing
for about 6
the
years.
sound system in the executive chamber, I want to tell you, ours is excellent.
What's that?
Comparing our sound system with that in the executive chamber, ours is excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Catherine,
They
what
used to
about
say
cement on the
mics.
basement floor there?
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
Cement?
cement.
I know, I heard it, it tingled. I couldn't-
Got her attention.
I tried not to smile.
We broke
And
Concrete.
highway guys can help with reinstalling the ceiling tiles and helping us clean up the room downstairs.
What about putting in a
it.
small wood, a wood frame floor in the jail area for storage?
You'd have to do more than just put a floor in the basement for storage. You've got to, you got to deal with, there's a humidity issue down there, there's a dampness, you got rodents, you got dust. It's just like we did with that room, we had to spend money and put a climate control system in it, and it's still, yeah, you go in there and you can still smell kind of musty mildew. let me work with Brock and get Public Works involved with leveling the floor down there. I'll have, I don't know if it'll be Brock, if everybody's on board with this, and that way I can teach them
Yep.
how to do
Perfect.
it.
Yep.
And I'll go,
Perfect.
whoever wants to sign to me, I'll take them with me to
Yep.
the purveyors and
Yep.
products, what's
That.
available, and
Mhm.
we'll get her done in-house.
Yep.
Shelves are really critical there, down in the basement.
Another big
Yeah,
item.
they just need to have better shelving. The frames are okay.
But if the PD is voted in, you'll have all that space.
What'd you have to say, John?
Say again?
Another item that's been neglected is the front door. It's supposed to get a new coat finish every year.
Yep.
Hasn't been done for 2 years now. It's 3 years ago we got the finish, so now we're going on third year of not doing the annual maintenance on it. It's something that they should be able to take that and put a finish on it.
Who, the highway department?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes,
They were taught to do it.
that was the.
They were taught to do-
Well, Brock was not.
I don't know
Take
whose
that
left it
back.
was.
Do they have to remove the doors to do it?
Yes, you have to have, yes. Absolutely.
There's a
Okay.
sanding process.
There's a sanding process, and if you're putting that on, it's gonna drip down. You don't want drips.
Why don't you have Brock get in touch with the contractor that did the door? And perhaps he can enlighten him on what the
Yeah,
process
who
is.
refinished them last time? Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was
Well, it
double
was.
Howard?
We took
No,
over
it
Douglas.
Howard.
I thought it was
Howard.
132.
Howard did it
Yeah,
on 132
American
Eagle.
window,
American, right.
whatever, yeah. He's got the white Ford one-ton Howard
He bought
license plate, yeah.
out Doubleday.
That's right.
You
And
were
he
in the right location,
explained the
Ronnie.
process. Once he did the work that he did, he said, if you simply do these 3-4 steps,
Okay.
So get in touch with them.
They were done
Okay.
December
Right.
15.
Yep. So get in touch with them. I'm sure that they'll work with Brock. They're nice people.
Yeah, where does time go?
Yeah, we paid $4,120.
Ask me about it. Where does time go?
All right. That's it for me.
So let's make sure we review this. Kind of keep us up to date weekly on where this is going.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Bouger.
Okay, so you have an updated budget copy. So down the bottom right, you'll see date printed 11/9. And really, the only changes here are that the expenses year-to-date have been updated as of today. So other than that, there's been no change since last week. The Budget Committee, as far as I could tell, didn't approve anything last night. I listened to the meeting, and so this is basically what you had last week, but with updated expenditures as of today, when you look through the actual 2017.
Does this budget now incorporate all the expenses we discussed last week on the 16-hour dispatch?
Yes,
Part-time, overtime, well, no, we were gonna use within. what
they
was
were
used
already
in- that's right.
incorporated within his.
But
within
the
chief's
part-time
budget.
wasn't?
It was.
It was, okay. I couldn't remember, thank you.
Can I just ask a question, and it kind of has something to do with the budget, but last year, when we went through all of the election and series, we said that we would put our feelers out for any equipment that people were getting rid of and buying new equipment, and we would get new pieces to go along with what we already have.
You talking about the voting booth?
Oh,
The voting booths. Are we still going to go forward and do that?
Cindy had sent out an email not too long ago.
That was for new equipment, but that wasn't for buying old equipment.
What she's talking about is like, when I went down with Cindy to look at those plastic voting booths,
And we didn't like them.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. I think that was in Nashua, and I believe the city was replacing all of their booths, which were like ours, with those. So my question was, what'd they do with those booths? So maybe a little ad in the local governments magazine looking for, town of
The old
Tilton
style
is looking for, and there's a name for those booths, I
Right.
forgot the name. Cindy knows them.
Because we could use some to have as backup replacements for the ones that we have, because they're really deteriorating.
Well, there's some things that have to be fixed on the metal components.
Right.
And
Rivets
Public
and
Works,
A couple brackets that were missing.
that's right, and Public Works felt, I talked to them the last time we set them up, the guys felt that that could be fixed. So could you remind Brock to assess those, look at those, and perhaps before the March election, that they could, at least on the metal, do their handiwork and see if they could repair some of that?
Mhm.
The curtains could always be, made. Those are pretty simple. But we should look into, I think Pat's right. I don't know if everybody agrees, but we should look into other communities that are getting rid of those booths and buying the plastic ones instead.
So it's 20.9% increase. Is that only because we have an extra election?
Because of the extra elections. And
Are there increases, though?
for which line?
Election registration.
Is that in Cindy's or the moderators?
That's the supervisors that check, well, it's actually, it's three departments.
I'm looking at the line 570.
That pays ballot clerks, it's all
It's the
the,
moderators.
I know, are we paying ballot clerks more
oh,
this
no,
year? Are we paying,
No, it's just,
no.
He gave
Everybody's-
us a very itemized budget, did he not?
yeah, but
Not, almost positive it was really itemized. It was very good.
I don't think I saw it.
Oops.
You guys had binders this year, didn't you have binders?
Town moderator, election
I have a
budget.
binder for outside agencies, but I don't have a binder for...
yeah, no, he.
That's the budget.
I can bring it up.
It was very,
It was very detailed.
Very
He went-
detailed.
He went through each of the elections, all the meetings that would have to be held, things which would require his attendance or assistant moderator, and then calculated the number of hours for ballot clerks and all that. So, moderator, assistant, town moderator, ballot clerks, food and refreshments, and listing out for each category, he had listed out which dates, which elections. And then, how that broke out for the different lines in the budget. So it's based purely on the number of elections. You keep in mind, we had one this prior year, we'll have 3 this next year, in 2018. And that also accounts for, in the town clerk tax collector's budget, an increase, because we have to program the machine, the scanning machine, the voting machine, that has to be programmed for each election. We have to buy the ballots, for each election, that sort of thing, so.
Okay.
So, did you want to go through and, particularly while Joyce is here, maybe discuss any changes in the administrative budget and possibly vote on it tonight?
Can we just-
And the other area that was probably a bigger change was in legal. Legal had been reduced. And Joyce and I had a long discussion on that and looked at, what was outstanding. So that had been reduced $10,000.
Consulting outside contracts. We haven't spent anything.
And this was just as a reminder for the board, when you discussed hiring for town administrator, this is an area, if you were to use a search firm, this is probably where it
okay.
would be charged.
All right,
Although it would probably be more than $1,000.
sure would.
Yeah, they were, let's see, the last time they did that, it was about $5,000, so
I'd say I would
kind of chuckled at that
plan
amount.
on 5,000 to 7,000 at least.
Should put another zero in there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fruitful.
Well, that could cover hiring someone to go do a background check, background search.
I'll make a motion to approve $655,344 in the administration budget.
Second. Discussion.
Any discussion of the motion on the table? Are there any of the changes? Are we anticipating anything changing this at all? I mean, we can always change the motion and,
Well, we're in open enrollment
yeah,
right now.
we can reapprove.
That's
so.
the only thing that might change if someone changes the health plan.
Okay, I mean, we can come back to
We can come back to that and change that because that's of circumstances that are beyond our control.
All right, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries.
Now, when was the board planning on getting their budget to the budget committee?
December,
Don't they already have a date for us?
yeah, I think it's,
They did set a date.
I thought they did.
yep. I think it's the 13th. It's either the 6th or the 13th. John, do you know which one it is?
We can find out.
We can find out
So
from
you still,
Joanne.
so we still have some time.
I think it's the first
Well,
week
you
in
have to
December.
remember too, this is our draft budget.
Right.
It's not, they can't change it. We're just saying, this is our draft budget.
Right.
And if there's items we don't agree with, it gives us an opportunity to have a conversation with them about those. So, yeah.
In the town clerk tax collector's budget, we've already discussed the increase for election, the number of elections. The other item there is the $60,683 salary for the town clerk tax collector represents a 3% increase.
What is aren't our increases 2.5%?
But this town clerk is putting in her own, remember, they vote on it.
Well, this is in our budget.
Right.
We
Right.
can,
Yeah, we
we can change
Yeah,
this.
absolutely,
I mean, that is an option. We can put in our budget what we feel is right, and then it behooves whoever to
in the
discuss
past,
at
we've
town
left it
meeting.
up to town meeting.
It is up to town meeting ultimately. Don't some towns do that as a warrant article?
Some do.
Town clerk, tax collector's salary.
What, I don't understand what this, under the deputy 1.3%, what does that represent now?
The reason
The
why you see it
prior year?
like that is because the merit has been added now to the budget.
Okay,
So that's why it reflects like that.
but this department request is built in as a 2.5% per what we asked for everyone to do.
That's right,
Okay,
and that's under the administrative
not
line.
necessarily what they're gonna get.
That's right. So in the administrative budget, there's a merit line that has 2.5% in it.
Yeah, but this salary we're looking at is based on the merit raise that was given this year.
That's correct, yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept the department request of $128,151 for town clerk, tax collector.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposition, abstentions, motion carries. Finance budget, is that pretty well
Scratch it.
stabilized? Any,
The big changes there, the lack of Business Park Drive debt and of $143,500 and the increased TAN interest. We're expecting that the Fed, there's a 92% chance in December the Fed is going to raise the overnight borrowing rate, which will eventually filter down into higher rates across the board. So, and we've seen a slightly higher rate this year anyway. And I can tell you that our borrowing needs have increased as well.
our borrowing needs have increased? Is that because of the TANs?
It's primarily because of cash flow and payments to other governments, the way those flow during the year.
With the tax rate now set, will that improve for the spring?
Not in a major way, no. No, because I factor in what I think our borrowing needs are
Okay.
into all this. So the challenge I have is I don't know what the rate's going to be, for next
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
But I'm anticipating it's going to be higher.
Why did budget committee go up? Because we have an extra person on budget committee?
That's correct. And well, the salary, are you talking about the salary for budget committee as well? So also, I looked at the amount of hours and the expenses that we pay the secretary, and based on the history of those payments, it seemed as though it was too low. So it was brought up some.
What do you mean too low?
In other words,
Based on the time spent?
based on the time spent
Okay.
for
Not the not the money amount.
but between that and then the payment to the committee, because each board and commission member will get $400. So with that extra person, we're all adding up.
Are they the only ones that get 400?
No, all do.
All can get 400, okay.
Except the ex officio.
Well, correct. All those that would get a stipend, it would be $400 versus $300.
With the exception on the conservation, right?
Right, whichever.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we approve the $318,651 for the finance department.
Second. Call me Jerry.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on the
Call you
motion on the
Jerry.
table? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Thank you, Drew.
So there's really not a lot of change here, other than making use of a lot of equipment I'm getting from the courts. The only issue with that is I just don't know, when things are available and what we can get. It comes in spurts. The two main things that I've got to replace this next year are going to be the firewalls. We have to maintain a certain level, both the PD and here, and they're going to be at end of life for the existing firewall, so I've budgeted for that, and that's the major piece of equipment in there. We're probably looking about 2 years out for replacement of servers, town hall and PD, so the primary servers. And,
What do those cost?
figure, I'd like to do it for less, but figure about $8,000 a piece.
Can we do
So-
capital for that?
I was just going to say, if we have a reserve fund, is that part of our maintenance? Could that be? It stores our files, it stores our information.
Can we have a separate one for IT?
I don't know, they
We'll have to
I
look
don't know
at
if they've
how
gone
we-
to IT for reserve funds. They're kind of limited. They specifically tell you what you can have reserves funds for, don't they?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Specific
Yeah.
purposes, so I don't think it's
Yeah.
a stretch to say that that server serves as a maintenance tool, as a storage device.
As well as office equipment or anything else.
Could stretch it to that.
Routinely.
Well, it could be too that, that could be a warrant article down the road or
But if we
each-
anticipate it, so instead of raising, 8,000 or 16,000, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you add it to all the other
Right.
8s and 4s and 5s and 6s, you raise 2,000.
And it's possible, depending upon what happens with the new PD, that, I could probably extend it to the point where we're going into the new PD and maybe wrapping it in at that point. So, in any case, that's pretty much.
There might be magical grants up here when that PD gets built.
Well, and the chief and I have talked about, there will be the opportunity to reuse certain grants that we've already made use of. Because the construction monies, things like that will be matches on our part, yeah.
Is the evidence processing module in this budget?
No,
It's
it is
out
not.
of this budget.
It's out of the
Okay.
budget,
Is there a possibility of purchasing that from the current budget?
yeah. I'm still looking at what, if anything, we may have by the end of this year. I'm just not prepared to.
Okay, so that may be something we may want to
Still a
consider putting back
possibility.
in.
Still a possibility.
Okay.
Make a motion, we approve $93,326
Second.
for IT.
Any more discussion of the motion on the table? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Oh, I throw an aye in there for me. Motion carries.
So in the land use budget, there are really just three things. Number one, the land use technician, the reason why that's up so much is because it was only budgeted for a portion of the year last year, and now this represents a full year budget. And then also in the planning and zoning boards, those increases are for the higher stipend.
Is the code enforcement because of more hours?
Yes, yeah, it's,
How many?
code enforcement is, let's see, 24 hours a week is how it's budgeted.
Okay.
And what was he before then?
22.
I think it was 23. It was 23 or 23 now. But it's a slight increase.
Did we get a break, oh, I did, it's right there, answer my question. The Conservation Commission budget, I guess I haven't looked at it. Do we normally give stipends to alternates on committees?
Yes, I know that we have in the planning board if they've attended all the meetings.
I just didn't remember.
Some,
And Conservation Commission, well, planning board doesn't have any alternates right now. But Conservation Commission, if they attend the meetings,
and sometimes they voted a certain amount.
yeah, they
Where they felt
prorated
like-
it.
We established a certain percentage of meetings to.
Right.
So if you attend half the meetings, you would get half, more or less.
Is that our,
Then,
I don't think that's our policy. I think they have to attend more than half the meetings.
well, I'm just, you could get the exact details of it, but you have to.
Have to be
if you-
excused.
I think if it's,
The word is excused.
I think we use the guidelines of the planning board
Right.
requirement for attending meetings for the
Conservation
stipends.
Commission has sometimes made their own recommendations.
That's true.
But they make the recommendation, but this is the selectmen's budget.
Right.
So,
But
I'm
the
just
way-
saying,
way it
we
works is
we should treat all alternates the same.
people don't get paid if they aren't showing up for meetings, or if they're missing substantial amounts.
That's a good thing.
I know we've done it in the past for planning board, I know that, if they've attended the meetings.
I will just mention something as you're looking at the land use budget. There is an ongoing discussion that we've had for case management software to help with not only building permits but also housing inspections, handling welfare, a number of things where each parcel has a certain database of activity from all the different departments, and there are the one that we had looked at most closely happens to be an annual subscription, about $2,700, and this is it's something that the planner feels very strongly about, that would help us down the road and provide all the different departments with access to information, whereas today it's kind of locked up with whoever's doing the work. If the health officer is inspecting something, another individual might not know that until they see the health officer or communicate with them. Same thing with building inspection. And there is a need now, more so than there has been in the past, to have a more consistent manner of inspections, tracking inspections, toggling the dates of reinspection, things of that sort, as we're working with the fire department. And so we have identified something. I just want to bring it up because I felt as though it would be difficult to do in this budget, but we had gotten some pretty significant discounts from this company, in order to see something through like this. But again, I just wanted to bring it to your attention that down the road we may be looking at making a case for this. So
It's just,
$2,500 a year?
$2,700 a year.
27?
it's a storage, it's for storage. It really just stores.
Why
Right.
aren't we doing our,
It's-
we're working on?
And I've worked something up with Dari, or the planner, that is kind of a lesser version of this, but and I don't want to take away from his presentation he might make to the board, but he has a lot of reasons why he believes this would be really good for the town, and which I can see the benefits of. But in any case, I just wanted to bring it up to let you know that this was something that had been discussed, but I felt as though this isn't something that we could put in the budget this year.
This is little to do with budget, but I'm just looking at the miscellaneous expense for the health officer. Did you order that device to get the temperature?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that down there. That was on the cabinet downstairs.
That one's going back.
Oh, it is? Okay.
I will need that very soon.
Okay.
We are in the season.
All right, I'll make a motion then to approve $125,817 for land use office.
Second.
Any more discussion of the motion on the table? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Could we look at and create a universal policy for stipends for, lost my brain,
Volunteers.
thank you. Well, they're not volunteers, the alternates, but that was close, thank you.
Are they volunteering their services to the town
They all
as
do,
alternates?
yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because they are volunteering. Would you look at that?
Yeah.
So that we're treating everybody the same on all the boards. Thank you.
All right, health and welfare. Health officer.
So the major change here is the general assistance line, and the welfare director felt, based on the experience this year, that there was increased need to bring that up. So she's added $5,600 to that. I should also note that the health officer declined an increase this year, so there's a 0% there.
Why are you going up against senior executive committee?
Because of the stipends. So there are 5 members, so it's going from $300 to $400.
Oh, 'cause I thought that already went up before.
Yeah,
Okay.
it will be for this year, but it was a small amount of money across the budget, so I didn't add that
I got it.
town meeting.
Got it.
What did our, well, I'd like to know how our welfare expenses went up so much.
Let's have her in and talk to us.
Well, there was unexpected hits.
Yes.
There were some serious life-threatening illnesses in town that struck many people, which is unusual. We hadn't had that before. But that leads me into a discussion of, since it was a lightning bolt, the economy is improving. I mean, there's signs up, help wanted everywhere. They've been up all summer long. I don't understand the increase, because the lightning bolt doesn't often strike twice. And we shouldn't be budgeting for the lightning bolt.
Worst case. No, I don't disagree with you. If you were to look at the number of clients served, the majority of the expenses would be from a smaller number of repeat people. So if one of those person's issues are resolved, I would think it would have a pretty sizable impact.
But here's the other thing. We are not meant, the town welfare is not meant to be long-term. It's meant to be short-term until they can get onto state or federal assistance. But
Let's
yet,
talk to her.
over and over again,
Well, we have
some
people
cases
there that
become
are long-term
long-term.
right now, yeah.
Yeah, and you should talk with her, because that's something
Right.
that people are gonna ask,
Right.
and they're gonna wanna know.
I agree,
I
I
wanna
totally
know.
agree with her.
Do you
I
want
think we
Heather
should-
to come next week?
In a non-public, yes.
Next week?
Yep. After, well, we have a PD award next week, so
And you're doing your ribbon cutting.
the what?
There's a
At
ribbon
4.
cutting
At 4,
at 4, so you'll be back here at 5?
yep,
Okay, and
and
then,
then it's
So
7.
should we have it the week after? If this is the only budget
yeah,
we're concerned
okay.
about, we haven't done
So,
outside
that week after
agencies.
is Thanksgiving? So
To
the
figure
first
out
week of
tonight
December?
whether or not we're gonna have a meeting. And then it's,
That's too far out.
the week after that is gonna be Thanksgiving, then we have the 29th.
What about the 30th?
Right, that's what I was gonna say, then we have the 30th, and then I meant the
Oh,
30th.
you said the first, that's
And
the
then
day after.
we have December, the 6th is, I think that, I'm pretty sure that that's the week that we're presenting.
Well, we could let budget committee know we couldn't
We-
until the
the
13th.
13th, we
Would it
could-
be appropriate to ask for a report? And,
No,
without
I think
names,
this is
but-
something
Yeah,
that,
she needs to
this-
give
the
the
questions
flavor.
are gonna be such
I
that,
mean, in
and
advance of her coming, maybe it wouldn't require as much time.
Well, Chief, I had you down for 6,
Yeah.
have you already
Same.
told?
But then that would
Get
be
the
officer.
information together, send it to
you
us.
shouldn't do that because this is a
You
public
haven't even
meeting,
done
so
yet?
all the discussion and all the questions should be asked here.
Well, that would be a good time, because he's on, could be on 6, at 6. You're gonna be back at 5, so you'd have to cut it off,
That's not gonna work.
like 15
All
minutes.
right, let's do
You'd
it.
have to, because
Everybody next week, 5
everybody's
o'clock?
gonna be coming.
Sure. With her.
Well, I can.
Okay.
I can't, because I don't think the information might not come out in that period of time.
In an hour?
I think it takes a little longer sometimes to get information. The way it's presented.
Half hour.
I just want, I don't want it to be
So
cut
have her
off.
come in at 6:30. What time is the?
6.
I don't think that the ribbon cutting is going to be an hour. We're gonna be there at 4.
If we.
We'll probably be at it there 4:30, we'll be back here at 4:45. 4:45 until 6, that's an hour and 15 minutes.
So what if she comes in at 6:30? Well, then there is no issue.
Right.
I mean, just in case,
Well, I'm just thinking that, because she's got her clients on Thursday, and then, so she could, I was just trying to accommodate, because she wasn't here this week. And she may have more clients next week, and then she's
With all the
finishes.
more for holdover. She'd be here for holdover.
So 6:30?
Mm-hmm.
What does everybody think of that, 6:30? That gives us plenty of time on the back end.
Okay.
That way we can get our other business
Right,
done on the
'cause-
early
yeah,
end.
because so far, that's the only thing
Or-
that's scheduled is,
But you have to get your award in and out.
Quickly.
Always get half an
Yeah,
hour.
that's plenty.
That's plenty.
okay,
I assume we
6:30.
want to bypass then the health and welfare budget at this point.
I think so.
Yeah. All right, highway.
Works.
Oh, you're going for it.
So again.
Is he pretty well set with this?
Yes, this, just to refresh your memory, this does include one full-time hire that we don't have currently.
How much did we allow for that? I know I've got his paperwork here somewhere, but
The
total
rate
estimated,
Mm-hmm.
is
Total is-
$19 an hour.
the total estimated gross.
We, with $19 an hour factoring in the highest paid plan, health plan, comes out to a total cost, including retirement, taxes, everything, disability, that sort of thing, $70,529. So, and that is currently in this budget, as are his wage adjustments, which were discussed when he was here last.
and one adjustment, was it one?
2.
There were two. One was for laborer and one was,
Oh, okay.
right,
I don't. Or two.
someone deserving.
Mhm.
And then there's, labor.
Oh, I do remember that. Thank you for the refresher. I remember that conversation.
This budget also included the doing away with the uniform service and purchasing the pants, the jeans.
Price difference on that?
On the uniforms,
Yeah.
it was a savings of $600 is what he estimated. And I think he was thinking that it might even go less in future years, but
You know, I do recall discussing that about $200 a year for the buy pants, where they go wear for shirts.
The town, Tilton,
yeah.
And that includes
right,
purchasing
it's in here.
Tilton shirts,
The uniform, that's what the budget's in there
Right.
for. Right,
and that would eliminate the.
along with the
outside-
sweatshirt,
Outside agency doing
The uniform service, that's right.
yeah.
Has he prepared a new vehicle purchase plan? Was he on 10 years in the other
Yes.
one? There was not a new
Yes.
one? Okay. Could,
Can we be
I
privy to that?
apologize if it's already been out on email, but could we have that
hasn't.
sent to the board?
I don't think he had sent it, but
No.
Oh, all right, could you please have that sent to the board? Because we should familiarize ourselves with that.
I know he has it.
There will
because I
be a
helped him
discussion.
on it. Yeah.
We are all, I think I remember him saying we're all salted up, right?
Yes.
He's got his
This accounts for
contracts.
it. Yeah, he's
In
ordering
in
now
his
for this
report,
year.
he said it was,
Yep.
he'd ordered himself.
And the only other item that was discussed quite a bit was the overtime and, how we planned for that, whether we planned for worst case or most likely case.
Right.
So, but keep in mind that even if we have a horrible winter now, starting now through town meeting, at town meeting, we could make a motion to, adjust that. So I think at this point, that's a good number to use.
I'll make a motion to approve the department request for highway for $671,234. Do you want to do sanitation as well? Because we've already,
I can just give you an update on that.
my motion.
Well, you've
I'll
already
just
got your
include-
motion out there.
I'll just leave it at that for the highway.
Second.
Any more discussion on the motion on the table?
Just one more thing, the merit raise pool, why did it change so much? Go up by 315%.
Let's see, hang on. Let me find-
2.6.
Because we had a part-time instead of a full-time.
Well, what you're seeing there is, keep in mind that the 2017 budget amount is less the amount that's been distributed. Because when we do the budget transfer, money is being taken out of that budget line and moved into crew's wages, into public works director's wage for each of those budgets. So that budget transfer makes that budget look lower. So it's not actually an increase of that amount, but that percentage is actually comparing it. What I can do is I can put in the notes what the 2017 budget amount was.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would help.
But do you follow
Yep.
when we do the transfers?
It actually says here that the budget amount for 2017 is $884.
Because currently that is the
What's
the
left
amount,
over.
what's left that wasn't allocated. When I came to the board to make the budget transfers, it actually relieves it from those original budget lines and it puts it into the other budgets, into the other lines, so that the bottom line of his department is still the same. And if we didn't do that, then you'd start seeing crew's wages, public works directors start being overspent over their budgeted amount.
So if the true figure were in there, it would actually be a
It
decrease.
would be zero. If he
Right.
used it all, it'd be a zero.
Right.
Right,
And if you look at the police's merit raise line item is the same thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's just a function of how we just redistribute. There you go. That's my old saying. Yeah. Now I get to eat it.
Did we get a second on the motion?
Yes.
Peter seconded it.
All right,
And that was discussion.
then I was calling for a vote, right?
Yes.
All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye, opposed, abstentions, motion carries.
So in sanitation, just so that you're aware, the decrease in the recycling line, that's because we had the one-time purchase of the carts in 2017. So
So that brings up a question from me. Is the 117,857, that's the cost to run the recycle truck every other week? Effectively, right? And the 137,078 at the bottom for curbside is the cost to run the truck every week?
correct.
Okay.
Well, plus the disposal of these. So in the recycling, that includes the disposal. So that's collection and disposal.
That
Oh,
117
I'm
is
sorry.
both? I thought that
No,
was...
hang on, let me pull it up. No, no, I misspoke.
67 is the solid waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what I was thinking of is it includes an additional amount over the contract to be able to take care of mobile home parks, all the mobile home parks, that's what I was thinking.
But in either case, the recycle truck, the solid waste truck does the same routes, it's just
That's
recycles half the time
Mhm.
and almost the same cost. 20,000 difference.
Right. Yeah, and it works out that the cost, because of the way the collection works and the disposal, our total cost per recycled ton is $317. For solid waste, it's $202. It's
If
almost,
we put it all in solid waste, the net effect is it'd be cheaper to the taxpayers.
it would be cheaper to the taxpayers, but it would be higher than $202 a ton.
Right, no, I know that.
Yeah, I think I calculated $237 or $240 a ton when we're all together.
Doesn't that recycling include the disposal?
The
That 117,857 includes the disposal.
It must, because it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we have 350, there's $97,000 for the collection contract, plus 350 tons that was our regular recycling amount, plus 22 tons for Jensen's, and that's at $50 a ton, which is what our contract caps it at right now. So that is disposal and recycling collection, that's correct.
Right, whereas our residential curbside is disposal.
That is
861.
950 tons.
67,000 plus the 137.
That's correct, yeah. But
So the
Hold
truck
on.
is 70% going half the time, 97,000 to the 137. We're paying 137
Yes.
for a truck
Yep.
2 days a week, every week, and we're paying 97
yes,
for every other week, the 2 days.
yes, yep, that's correct.
All right, so you took out the cost of the disposal, yep.
Did
Okay.
we, the household hazardous waste, isn't that something that we as the selectmen vote to participate in?
Yes, and that was the letter that you...
It's going around.
Yep.
I don't think I've signed it.
Oh, it's only,
It's in the, I think in the folder.
it's in the to-be signed
Yeah.
folder.
What is that price? It should be here, right?
$29.54.
Went up a little bit. Went up $100.
There were two things that to be signed, the refuse hauler and that letter, commitment letter, which is subject to...
They determine our household hazardous waste based on how much our community is producing, or is it just flat rate?
It's a formula based, it's the Lakes Region Planning.
Oh, I think it's based on population.
Yeah.
It's based on there.
Maybe we should encourage more people to use it.
We have to put it out there. I have more people miss there's only 2 dates.
I miss it every
And
day.
people miss it all the time, and it's one of the biggest complaints I get over the years is they don't know when. We really need to put it out
Yeah,
there.
you're absolutely right.
I usually
Really
don't.
They do,
Because I
they have
usually-
all kinds of posters.
But the town, we need to do it for our townspeople. We
Right.
need to get it out to them because I'm the one that picks it up later.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
we
sir.
have a new variable message board. That might be a good PSA to put on it.
Where's our new, oh, thanks, Vin.
Huh?
We don't have a new
Talking
variable
about the
message.
police, thing?
It's down.
It's been going on. How long have you been running?
Slow down.
I saw it, I wondered why it was still up.
I saw it.
Isn't that event done?
For like dates of something.
No, now
November
it's telling you
1st
to
through
slow
the
down
3rd
so
or
you don't
something.
run the
Sure.
middle schoolers over trying to cross Route 3.
Yeah.
All right, so is there a motion for sanitation?
I haven't seen the letter yet for the household
I'll
hazardous
make a
waste.
motion to,
Oh, this must be it. Hauler's application?
Yeah, that's a hauler's application. See the little to-be signed thing? You didn't see the letter in there?
John's making a motion.
I'm sorry, John, who seconded it?
I didn't hear the rest of the motion.
request of $528,216.
Second.
I'm sorry, I was reading this. Yeah, although I haven't seen the, discussion, there it is. No, that's the Hollers.
That's it.
Underneath the
Underneath.
hauler.
That's the Hollers, that's not, there's Lakes
Keep
Region
going.
Hazardous, I got it. So,
She's been here all day.
Well, I just get to move around. And you two, too, right? We go from
we
job
still
to
have
job.
2 dates.
Right, that's easier, I think.
Has anything changed in this?
What is this here?
We still have 2 opportunities.
Yes, it's a, yep, no, there's no change.
There's no change, okay.
No,
that
I
was
went back
my-
and looked at the prior letter.
Okay, that was my only concern.
Does
Okay.
that amount say 2954?
This is 2954, so it's gone up, what, $100?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries.
So Ashley wants to go too.
What time is it?
11.
John, you going to the Spalding Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, yes, who all wants to go?
Lunch.
I would, but it's interferes with my JOB.
That
What,
just ran right out of the
what seating?
budget.
Good job.
I love it.
Keith's going to.
11?
Okay, that's fine with Kim, but she would need to.
Kim's going to ask Cindy, but she would like to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go email this right now, because today's the deadline.
To see if Cindy's going to go the 12 and Kim would like to go the 11.
Okay.
He's going to go.
We don't have a new certificate of insurance for this Pinard?
Yes, I do, it's attached. I put it in there. I attached it to it.
Oh, you know what?
Spalding Youth Center,
And I think I mentioned
they,
that at the start of the meeting, Catherine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it next
Sometimes
Thursday?
I'm looking
See,
through
I'm like
stuff.
you, John, you don't listen to me.
Well, when it's like right now, I'm playing catch
Did you
up.
wanna go?
I'm at NHMA on
And
the
so I'm not playing catch up. I'm gonna send this stuff all on without signing it.
Okay.
Because I gotta pay attention to what's going on.
All
I
right.
can't be reading that and signing.
Just a sidebar.
So we
Would you like
jumped
to
into
go to-
Spalding.
Would you like to go to Spalding Thanksgiving? The 11th?
Oh,
the
that's
12th.
fun. What day of the week is
It's
that?
Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
At
Oh,
11.
that's fine, yeah, because they don't have inspections. on
Yes.
Thursday.
Catherine's gonna go, Catherine's.
You wanna be at
gonna go with
11?
Cindy, or you're gonna go with us?
What time are you going?
11.
I'm going to 11.
11. 11. Catherine. All right,
Yeah,
PD budget.
yeah.
PD budget.
What do you think? You good with this?
Uh-oh,
So,
smirky smile on his face.
Yeah.
no, it's nothing bad, but it's different. And so, obviously, I think you probably heard at the last meeting that one of my officers is returning
Yes.
to Arizona. So over the last few days, I've been meeting with supervisors and with some of the staff. And obviously, I'll start out by saying we're all extremely grateful at everything you guys are doing as far as 16 dispatch, the new PD project, and the equipment's come up leaps and bounds in the cars. We really have nothing to complain about at all. Obviously, that said, we still are busy and we want to make sure they're safe. But after a lot of discussion, we've kind of agreed that we think we could try to get by without that position. So I'm not going to ask to fill it. The only thing I would ask the board to consider is we leaned the budget out pretty good before we got to last week with the dispatch piece aside, and the only line that worries me now is overtime, because when I factored in that overtime budget, I factored it in with that position, and we've been able to work miracles having that position. And talking to some of the supervisors that do the schedule, they said, Chief, we're just not going to be able to work those miracles. You're down 40 hours, and when someone goes on vacation, now you're down 80 hours.
Is it emergency? Okay, all right, bye. I got a wood furnace, so nobody's there to put wood in it, so I gotta start firing it up.
Oh, jeez.
Otherwise it would.
Is that the outdoor one, the
Yeah.
big one?
Oh, yeah.
So, other than that, I think the rest of the lines are okay. I don't ask to change anything. That's the only one that I would ask the board to consider putting some more in there to get. The reason being is we have 4 officers that are going to go up in PPO next year, totaling 144 hours. If you do an average overtime rate at 32 hours, if you were to use 25 as an average, that would get about $4,000 if I filled those 144 hours. With that, about in 2016 we had about 10,000 in court, and the increase in vacation, and then obviously adding those 2 dispatch positions in that same line item. So I think if you add the increase in PTO that I'm gonna inherit next year with a couple more positions that have vacation time, and losing 40 hours a week in the schedule, that makes me nervous for that one particular line.
So this is a bottom line budget. Now, we certainly could move monies around, but if we're not going to reduce officers' wages, we could leave it alone for now, and then if,
Do we still have his wage incorporated in here?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I would, I mean, I can refigure it and take it out, but I would also point out that, you know, your overtime, you're only 63% spent so far this year, and you did have some, there were times when you didn't have a full complement.
How much are you looking to add?
Well, I just, you know, the spreadsheet that Tim did recently that did like a 10-year spread of overtime, just looking at it, the average was about 52 in the last 3 years. I've been between 49, 53, 48, 127, 48, 127 being full staff with everybody, and to reduce it to 48 and lose the position, and then pick up 2, and then have 4 people go up in PTO. I didn't forecast that, so.
Did you have the captain and sergeant look at the schedules as far as 12-hour, 10-hour, 8-hour shifts to kind of offset the loss of a patrol officer in scheduling so that it would reduce the overtime?
Yeah, we did. I actually talked to Luke about it as well. You know, and even there was a couple of years we had 10s and we've had 8s. We've had all 3.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm down 40 hours and I'm trying to put a second person out, it really, we all felt it wouldn't matter which one.
the last time the 10 hours was presented to us was based on the fact it would save us on overtime over the 12 and 4.
They do, and I think the 12 has, and I think the 8th
No.
person.
The 10 hours presented to us, when they wanted to do away with the current, that the 10-hour would save us overtime hours. More so than the 12
And
and
the
4.
12-hour.
I think,
3 12s and a 4.
yeah, the last time we did it was 2011, was when we tried the 10s. And,
But this was just, what, this year, spring?
Hmm?
Or was it last
Yeah,
fall?
we asked about it in the spring. We asked about it in January, February. It's kind of in that time
I'm just a
frame.
little confused.
And, right, they made up a
schedule.
schedule
Yeah.
with the 10s, and it would create less.
Less overtime.
I mean,
I think that was the captain and sergeant. that
That's
had
right.
Done the 10s.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
figured it would be less.
Right. It would be less overtime.
right now, we're probably the lowest we've been. I think the combination of the schedule and having that extra person, and Jesse's really been working hard to keep court down. We're the lowest we've been going back to maybe like 2000 and fine print, 2011 was we were at 47. The highest 3 years were back before I was here. It was 2006 to 2008. Those 3 years it was 56, 58, 59, and then we got it down to 43 and then 48, 2010 and 11. So I think this year they've really worked hard to keep it down. We're only spending it when we have to, and we'll continue to do that next year, obviously. I think that would be the only line that I would ask the board to reconsider.
I am not a proponent of knowing that we're going to have an officer wages down to keep that in the budget. I'm not a proponent because we already know that we're going to be one officer, full-time officer down. I mean,
You're saying take it out or don't?
I'm saying take it out because,
Take it out, and then we can beef up the overtime line.
and then if we compensate the overtime by, what are you saying, 10,000, or are you saying 8,000, are you saying 10, 12, what are you saying?
There's just an increased PTO, there's 4,000, and then there's
So 4,000, so you,
So,
That was just.
Well, why
Yeah,
don't,
it's, you know,
rather than, why don't you come back to us next week with
And I'll get
the
together with
officers'
him.
wages taken out of all the line items where they should be taken out?
Yeah, I can do it.
And then what that overtime would look like.
is everybody agreeable to that, taking the
Yes.
officer wages out? I mean, if we don't.
Well,
taking the officer wages.
let's
out?
see what it looks like. We can make that decision next week, whether to take it out or not, but let's see what it looks like. Let's see what the numbers look like.
Right, right.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a economic thing, maybe.
No,
We could
but
pay
don't-
overtime, but we wouldn't have to pay all the benefits on an additional person.
Yeah, so let's see what that looks like, and next week we'll make that decision.
I mean, we are appreciative, obviously, with everything you guys have done this year and are doing, so.
Okay,
So we'll hold off on that,
on the PD,
on the PD.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right,
Were there any other questions on the rest of his budget, or you just want
I think
to
we-
review
I
that
think
next week?
you really beat it up, and I think Ashley did an excellent job in that fine tuning.
so,
If you haven't heard and said thank you, Ashley.
Jim, what was the change?
To take out one officer.
Oh, so you're gonna have to recalculate.
I'll have to recalculate, yeah, and we'll bring that number next week,
Okay.
and take a look at overtime as well. So I don't know if you want to discuss culture and recreation or outside agencies at this point?
I wouldn't mind voting some of the outside agencies. I have a pretty good idea which ones I'm gonna.
Well, let's look at culture and recreation, those are
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much set, I mean,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve $171,937. Culture and recreation.
Second.
discussion.
Yes.
Looking at the library budget, I guess it isn't up that much. That's as of 11/9 expended, so
Right.
a little less than 1,000, okay, all right. Any more discussion on the motion on the table?
What was the resolution for the maintenance of the park, the mowing?
Right, so, within the budget, the park commission expenses still contain contractual amounts for Squires Landscaping and also Belknap, based on our existing contracts.
The Public Works Director felt that he would have to have a part-time hire to take that over. And it's less cost to the town for us to subcontract it out.
Now, he also was talking about full-time hire.
Right.
Was that full-time hire also to help cover some of the park too, so does he need a full-time
The
hire?
park maintenance on the park pavilion and all of that. They're not the lawn care though.
Well, and the board had approved him to go
We approved
forward
the full time.
to do that. He hasn't had any responses as of last week, but I don't know that it's been out in all the
But the
places.
full-time hire was for far more than just
Right, it was more than.
building maintenance. I mean,
That's
Public
correct.
Works, since the park was built, has done building maintenance in the
Right.
park.
Yeah.
So if he hires somebody that he's got in the budget, then that would affect Parks Commission expenses, because then that person would be doing the maintenance.
No, they're not gonna be doing the lawn maintenance. The park commissioners only budget for lawn maintenance.
I realize that, and we said that's what the part-time is for, but his full-time, we said that that would be partly for the other maintenance things.
That the park commissioners don't budget for.
They don't budget for that. They never have. It's always been.
Public Works has done it.
has.
Oh, so it's been
The
coming in.
pavilion, like, resurfacing the
Beams.
beams and things like that, and staining and do it, that's always been in Public Works.
Repairs, just
The-
like they repaired the storm damage.
The railing on the fish
The only
pier.
exception, yep, they did the fishing pier. The only exception to that is when I was able to get prisoners from the state prison system to come up, which didn't cost the town anything.
They do have $7,410 worth of maintenance budgeted, parks budget.
Right.
So,
But that's,
but that, you know, there's some money in there, but also.
that's usually,
so that's,
the plexiglass panels get damaged, like there is one right now.
And it's
Needs to be
yeah,
replaced.
it's usually materials too, so
It's-
that
yeah.
the Public Works will do the work,
Pump
but
going in and out.
The pump,
the materials would be paid for
Yeah.
by Parks Commission.
the irrigation system.
So,
There's, under landscaping, Riverfront is shown as $6,600, Vest Pocket Park, $380, and Route 132, $3,120, and Civil War Monument, $500. So a total of $10,600 for landscaping.
That will increase in 2018.
Well, this is the Parks Commission.
I just got
2018
the
budget.
bids
Oh.
from Belknap today.
Oh, okay. All right.
So should we wait on approving this, or?
We can, just like the others, I mean, we can wait, there's no reason not to wait. I'll bring it to I sent it out to the park commissioners right after I got it, and they'll discuss it Monday night.
We have a motion out there, that's
Right.
I don't care either way, it doesn't matter. We can always amend it.
Okay.
That's
Right.
correct.
Any more discussion of the motion on the table?
Aye.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions, motion carries.
just gonna abstain from.
Did you want to abstain, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so motion carries, one abstention.
Before we
Please.
get to outside agencies, may I point out something here, and I may be wrong on one of these payrolls. I called out a public works person,
Mhm.
what day was that?
Sunday.
Sunday.
And they did not put in hours.
That's
Right,
correct.
and I spoke with him about that, and he's gonna put that in next week.
Got it, all right, well, I'm all set, thank you. I was very grateful that he covered those wires up. Okay. All right.
So some of these outside agencies,
Yeah.
like Park Cemetery, the park is
Lakes
required
Region.
to have
Yeah,
a burial ground.
Birch Hill,
Birch Hill, we're required by law to have a confinement area. I think those are the only two that have that designation.
right. So I'll make a motion that we approve the Park Cemetery for $6,000 and Birch Hill Kennels Animal Control for $5,500.
Second.
Any more discussion of the motion on the table? All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was a little confused because the Birchill is a contract. And isn't the contract, if it's subject to accepting of the budget next year and town meeting?
So the budget, so town meeting could, if they felt that we were paying too much for that service, they could cut the money out of the budget. But the fact is, the law requires the town of Tilton to have a confinement area for dogs and cats. And I got the law someplace in this pile. but-
I
So
realize that.
the selectmen need to contract for that service, or we need to build our own facility.
So, and one of the things is that this contract doesn't say subject to approval.
That's because regardless of whether they approve it or not,
It's by law.
we have to, by law,
Right.
have a facility to
Yeah.
confine animals.
But-
So we would have to find, they can't, town meeting can't nullify a contract the selectmen have signed. They can unfund it. What I'm saying is, if they do that, we'll have to find the money in our budget, or build our own facility.
Right.
Or go find
My
somebody else.
question was, shouldn't this
That would be more
not
money.
state that subject to funding?
No, because
No, because we have to by
We
law.
don't have to buy law from them, we have to. buy
Well-
law from
Well,
them.
we,
That's my question,
no, of
right?
course not, but we already proved that.
every year,
Contract.
John, every year we get a call
Just
from,
asking a technical question.
right, but every year we get a call from the Humane Society, which used to do it years ago. And they say, geez, we'd like to kind of put a bid in for them. Both Catherine, myself, as chair, we said, welcome to, here's the address, put in the bid, this is, these are the things that you need. And about 5 years now, they've never put in a bid. And they've called here, Joyce, they've called you at some point and interested in how to do
Let's say
it.
somebody said, some animal shelter said, we're gonna do it for free for you.
And that,
But- And then the
and
town
they come
meeting-
forward
and
to
at
us,
the
yeah?
town- And at the
Then
town
you amend
meeting,
it.
They say, oh, we want the free
Well,
guys, we don't want
we
this.
can't amend it
say,
because
"We
we've
can't
signed a
amend it
contract."
because
Okay,
You
but-
guys signed a contract for 2018 to do business with these folks.
That's right, because from the period of January to March, we have to have a facility to put animals in.
Right.
So this should not be mentioned that it's subject to that.
Yeah, it really shouldn't. I mean, we have to contract. I've even asked the facility in Franklin, which is a very nice facility, to bid on it, but they felt they didn't have the capacity. But, so this is really the one option we have. Again, unless we choose to build our own.
Or pay a lot more money to
The
go to
voters
Laconia.
decide they want to go with somebody else. Can they?
They
can't
cannot
take the
nullify a
contract.
contract.
Not for
So,
2018.
They can't nullify, but should we be entering into one?
What are you gonna do for
In
January and February?
We
March.
should just state that they're subject to,
We-
I see what you're saying, but it's never been an issue in all these years, because it is by,
I know I have a position, just to make sure we do it.
it is an what you're proposing is interesting. That
Well,
really is interesting, and
it is a good point.
maybe
Start
we should
the
think about that.
start it more in May or June to figure out or advertise to say, hey, this is what we're looking for, and see if anybody answers that. If nobody answers that, we only have two choices. One that chooses to bid on it every year and give us a contract price that we've used over the years, and the other one that we used to use but was a lot higher.
No, I have absolutely no complaints, these guys are the best, I
but-
fully want, but the technicality.
Right,
plus
I hear what you're
signing a
saying.
contract for something that we have for a year that we have not been
So
authorized to
somebody
sign.
theoretically, to follow your line of thinking, that a petition warrant article could come up, demanding the selectmen have that service with someplace else. So your point is very interesting in that perhaps that contract should be from April 1st to the end of March.
Right.
For subject to
That's
final.
kind of what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah. That's,
Oh,
All right,
we may want to
You-
consider that. for
I'm
that.
gonna say, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Did we approve the first two yet?
No,
Oh,
we're having a discussion. So is there any more discussion of the motion on the table?
And that was for the outside agencies?
That was for
Park.
park
And
and animal control, those two that were required to provide services. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed,
The Eagles
abstentions.
of Barrington.
Motion carries.
Yes.
I'd like to make
Next to that.
a motion to approve Lakes Region Planning for $3,540, Youth Assistance Program for $48,755, for Community Action for $26,000, for Franklin Visiting Nurses for $12,572, and that's it for now.
Second.
Discussion. So a lot of these went up.
$689, one went up. Oh, youth went up.
Community action. I heard that,
$1,700.
yeah.
She's gonna be coming in to meet with the budget committee.
Who is?
Community action program.
Mm. They are the one that I think a lot of people use their services, especially for fuel assistance. All right, any more discussion on the motion on the table? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
And what is the purpose of, oh, I'll make a motion for separately, summer concert for 2000.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries.
Do we have a purpose on the PEMI? What the needs, what the
So
things are for?
we were actually scheduled for next week, and I think we voted last night that we're gonna withdraw that, so I did, let them know, but Tim, I don't think,
I was aware.
yeah.
Who was scheduled for next week?
PEMI youth.
To come
Is the
before the
budget
selectmen?
committee.
Budget.
Oh, the budget. Well, this is the selectmen's budget, so
All right,
that's
so you're,
different.
so PEMI's gonna withdraw that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Entirely?
All right, and so...
So can we eliminate that line?
Mhm.
Everybody agree to eliminate that line?
Can we put $1 in, just get it created? What, you know
I
it's
wouldn't
gonna,
vote-
We'll
it's
back
gonna be
next
coming.
year.
Well, then next year we can vote to create the line.
Okay,
But my understanding was when they came to town, they were not going to be asking for any funding from the
and I
town.
was told that when the Pines Community Center came, that within 5 years, they'd be self-funded.
Well, I'm still hoping.
Just saying.
We
I,
have a recreation fund, town of Tilton recreation fund, that we put money in. I think the last couple of years, we haven't added more money to it, it's there. If we put $1 into the PEMI and there was some type of program that we wanted to apply money from that, could we use it that way? Or would we have to go and appropriate to move it out of that capital reserve fund?
The
I mean,
capital,
youth doesn't provide
the
recreation.
capital reserve fund, it has a very specific purpose, and
Yeah.
the Parks Commission are agents for that fund.
I don't
We'd have
Oh,
to
is that
look
the
at-
fund you're talking
We'd have
about?
to look at the purpose.
The purpose was to create recreation, so it can't be used for maintenance, lawn mowing, construction. It's strictly for recreation.
Yeah.
So we're going to, at some point, we need to replace the playground equipment, or fund new programs or whatever. That's what it would be used for, but it's not a maintenance fund.
Right, yeah, there
Construction
are
fund.
two funds that the Park Commission are agents for. One is their revolving fund, and the other is that capital reserve, recreation capital reserve fund.
And to make a motion to,
We haven't resolved whether or not to take this line item out of here.
Take it out.
Well, take PEMI youth out. It's a line item, alternate recreation. Was that created by the budget committee?
Yes.
So that needs,
Well, no,
that
the
needs,
board, no,
We
the
did
board
that.
We did
created
that.
it, yeah.
so the alternate recreation should stay there, but PEMI youth should not be in there
So
with it
leave a
because it's
dollar
not a
there, just-
recreation
then
facility.
let's just leave $1 there to keep that open and just take
Yeah.
out the,
So I misstated that.
Right,
Take
so-
out PEMI youth.
right. Okay, with the grow in agreement on that. So
That was my
I'll
fault.
make a motion to approve Genesis at 3,000 and Child Family Services at 3,000 and New Hampshire Association for Blind, which is now called First Sight, for 1,500.
Second.
Discussion. First site, the request was 2,000.
And over the past, I don't know, 5 years maybe, we've given them 1,500.
Yeah, oh, I agree, 1,500. They are funded from other
Yep.
areas that,
Yeah, they have $1.7
Mm.
million in administration fees out of the $2.3 million budget. They do a great job,
Mm-hmm.
but they have this, they've been around for hundreds of years, I think.
They do a phenomenal job in Tilton for the seniors. Phenomenal.
And I'm all for funding them, but I think we have other places we could
Yeah.
help.
Wow, so half of their budget is administrative? Is that what you
So
said?
it was, I
No.
think it was 1.7 million out of 2.3.
Pat, I'm sorry, could you repeat the ones that you,
Genesis of 3,000, family, child and family services for 3,000,
and the
and
blind?
the blind for 1,500, which is what we've given in the past, and they've been fine with it.
Okay. Any more discussion of the motion on the table? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Has CASA picked up their money or requested their money,
Yes.
Is everybody?
and they didn't put in a request?
I think, no, I think they are, I think I heard from, on the budget.
They didn't put in a request.
Yeah, they did put in a request for CASA.
Did they have to be called, or did they meet the October deadline?
I don't know. There were a number that there was some communication issue with a number of them.
There was a huge communication with the issues because one night we were here and Cap was supposed to show up, and we called, and we called Cap for another reason on a senior, and we said, oh, by the way, why weren't you at the meeting last night? She never got any notification whatsoever, Gail Lyman. So there was a lot of miscommunication that some of these outside agencies didn't, the scheduling wasn't, notices or something went awry.
Cap, Casa, and Red Cross were no-shows scheduled up when.
Well, Cap was too.
Well, New
Yeah.
Beginnings.
But then
and New Beginnings.
New Beginnings was too.
In the beginnings, that's right.
Yeah,
So, do you know what CASA's request was? Was it $500?
500, yeah.
And they've all been rescheduled, so. See how that works.
I think that, CASA and New Beginnings, particularly New Beginnings, because they work with the PD, I'll make a motion to fund them $1,530 because they're great asset to Tilton. They really do. And now they make an effort for, I shouldn't say make an effort, they do include men and women, both in that.
But they're
Second.
primarily, I'm sorry, thank you for that discussion. They are primarily for women, because when I was, every time I've interviewed them, they would stumble over having a facility where they could house men.
Well, back in the days, primarily it was women that were abused.
Right.
Now they're
Well-
getting more and more into today where men are victims as well now.
I think the men just didn't come forward, but
Yeah,
Right.
as early as
And that
last
could be
year,
right.
housing was always an issue
right.
for men.
Yep.
It was difficult for them to serve men.
Mhm.
I mean, and it always disturbed me.
It still is.
Yeah, the majority of the
But
claims.
they do have facilities for men now. Yep. A
So have
few.
they been before the budget committee?
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're one to reschedule.
The one that was miscommunicated. Yeah.
So your motion was for just CASA? Is that what
CASA and New Beginnings.
Oh, both CASA and New Beginnings?
Yeah.
Okay. John, you
Well, that's
seconded that?
Yes.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
I
Aye.
am really not prepared to,
Motion carries.
So that just leaves Pines.
well, Pines and,
Just Pines.
that's it?
Yep, just Pines.
Okay, I'm not prepared to make that motion because I haven't heard,
They came in last night to the budget committee.
I wasn't feeling well. I really like to, if somebody else wants to make a motion, I mean, I support the Pines, so it doesn't matter, but
I would make the motion, but if you want a chance to listen to that presentation on video,
Yeah,
we can do it next week. It's some very interesting stuff.
They
You
still,
may wish to increase it.
it,
I don't think so. They still
My name's
don't
not Joe
adequately,
Jessamine.
they still don't adequately serve the teenage population. I'm sorry, I was there last night. And it's a question I've asked them for 17 years. And it's the same thing. They talked about their game room, which just is not an area where any teenager would want to spend any time. So I'm sorry, that population is just left out. They talk the talk, but they don't come up with the programming for it. Just my spiel, sorry. All right, let's
So I will just show
give
you
everybody an opportunity to watch the video
one
if they
quick
wish.
thing. I found lots of voter booths. These are ones that go into, collapse into a suitcase.
Okay, but they're not parts for our
No.
existing booths.
No, I agree, but there are thousands of these surplus things for about $75 a piece if we chose to go a different route.
That's even a lot.
Yeah, let's.
Because
get
we
the
can use
brackets
the,
and-
I mean, we can use the
Oh,
tabletop.
no, I agree.
Thank you for doing that.
No, but there's a lot of surplus.
There's gotta be
voters
municipalities out there that have those things like ours in storage. All right, are we
So that's it.
done with the budget for
Not-
now?
Not quite. So
It's
then
the Pines and the PD, right?
Pines,
for
PD,
PD
and
and
also
Revenue.
Health.
health and
Health,
welfare.
welfare.
And then if I could just go over two quick things. We don't have to go through all the revenue right now, but the projection of $2,035,000, you can see there. And if you go to the very last page, you'll see what the projected tax rate looks like based on the appropriation that was in the budget. And this includes those warrant articles listed on the front, which were for just the basics of highway equipment, roads, streets, bridges, sidewalks, and reval. And then you can see we would be, if all this came through as is without any fund balance, we'd be looking at a 32-cent increase in the town tax rate. Not factoring in any changes in our equalized value, because we wouldn't know that at this point. But we'd be looking at a 4.4% increase. So the fact that we'll be taking out a full-time wage from the budget in the PD, that'll make a difference in this.
But we haven't included warrant articles either.
Well, just the warrant articles I mentioned, which were the kind of the standard.
The basic
usuals,
reserve fund
The
ones.
usuals, yeah. So you're looking at about about 15, possibly 12 to 15 cents for that officer in the tax rate. So,
That much?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
benefits and everything.
So I'll be including this in each of these budgets so that you can see what, if everything
That's really
came
great.
through the way, we would project, you'll see what the town tax rate.
I have one question. If we go back to culture and recreation, am I correct to say that Northfield did not contribute to as much as we did to the Hall Memorial Library last year?
That's correct.
And what was the difference?
What up for you? There,
Was it that much?
no,
How much?
was it 35,000?
35,000?
There's a
I can pull it up.
town report right there. It should tell you what. Oh no, it's not gonna tell you Northfield's. Sorry. And listen,
I could run up and get it.
No, yeah, I don't really need it. I could find
It
it.
was,
We have Northfield's
yeah.
town report somewhere here.
I spoke to the Hall Memorial Library, and they were a little shocked that had happened, and I told them that they really need to go.
But they got by with that $35,000 drop, right?
Yeah, I forget what the exact, I don't want to quote on it.
All right.
It was significant, but they were encouraged strongly to start rallying and getting their people together to go to the town meeting in Northfield and present it. They were shocked.
yeah, they should go to the legislative body. They should understand that that's the final
And
say.
I think they were presenting theirs to the Northfield this week.
All right. It happens quite a bit in the budget, that we'll fund something and then they won't, and the Hall Memorial's a shared resource and we shouldn't be.
People think books are dead. How conservative are you in estimating our revenue for 2018? I'm just, the news lately, a couple weeks ago, one town, and it was obvious they overestimated. They counted on revenue from tuitions that didn't come to
This is
fruition.
back in a school district,
This is
It
the,
was part of a town, it wasn't a district, I don't believe.
I,
Pembroke Academy.
Was it? So
Yeah.
was it a district? But it doesn't matter, it's still a
School district.
municipality that
of course, it's.
overestimated
Tuition
revenues.
budget.
It's difficult to know from year to year.
Exactly.
So there are some items that I've been more conservative on and others that, where we have really good data on, like motor vehicle registrations. So I would say it is not a highly conservative estimate, because then you'd be looking at a much higher town portion of the rate. I think it's a very likely, and it's very close to what our budgeted, where our actual revenues are coming in this year.
Okay, that was my next question, because I'm looking at where we are as of November 9th,
Well,
and I know that the motor vehicle could,
keep in mind too that the rooms and meals is a big chunk of change that comes in at the very end of the year.
yeah, they
So
could
that kind of
mess with it.
skews the total some. But it's difficult to know, but I try to find the most likely case in revenues.
I have to say, you've done a good job with that overall over these years. We've never been caught.
Well, don't say that.
Yeah, knock on wood.
The mill sheet down without the mess, race. When race lost, Blackers in New Hampshire.
I know, isn't that awful?
Oh, this is nice. This doesn't
Yeah,
have.
that storm last week was good.
What is it?
Eversource and
They'll
Aspen.
let the concerts go through. All
All
right,
by, there was a crap load of
it's
trucks.
7:30.
I just have one quick non-public.
We have a non-public.
And then I gotta go.
All right, shall we go right into a non-public?
Can we just announce first that, for the camera before we go into non-public, that it's this Saturday at 11:30?
11:50.
11:50 is the Veterans Parade with the American Legion.
Park to Town Hall.
My husband is.
Park Street to Town Hall, 11:50 a.m.
Is that on our website? How come they don't communicate with us so that we can put it out there?
Who's that?
I don't know.
Veterans.
I put it in the
American
report,
Legion.
I'm sorry.
Saturday at 11?
It's in the chief's report, but it should be on the it should be on our website, and it should be known, because I've tried to attend every single year, and there's a couple,
There's not many
and
people.
there's a couple dozen people
Yeah,
out there. and
because people don't know.
they don't. So we need to get the word out there to make a good showing.
Was there candy?
Oh, can you do the telephone thing? Alert Tilton? Can we do Alert Tilton?
Yes.
The road will be closed for a little while, right?
Yep,
Can we do Alert Tilton?
board, the sandwich board, yeah.
yes.
Put it on your variable message
I
board.
was just saying that, yeah.
Are you ready?
Let's get the word out, I mean, really.
Yeah, for them.
Thank you. Motion to go into non-public, I don't remember the number.
Yeah.
I think it's employee, oh no, it's a land acquisition and employee.
And please, I'm just here for the land acquisition.
Okay.
Second,
Roll call vote, please.
Scanlon, yes.
Cog, yes.
St. John, yes.
Constantino, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Wait a minute.
Which is like 2 minutes. Is this on?
Nope.
No.
Off, I think.
Having some camera difficulties?
Yeah. Not that. Put it on top,
At least
no.
you're trying. I wouldn't even touch the darn thing. I'd break it.
Only person who's good at it.
No, it's red.
Oh,
Whoa, I'm,
Jesus.
okay, there's green up
Oh,
here.
that's the power.
Okay. I
Right
thought
there,
that,
see?
all right.
Good.
Red is green. Red is on.
No,
We're
on the
ready.
back end, it's green for the power, and I kept seeing that, that's why I didn't
all right.
put it on.
Make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as it pertains to employee and personnel permanently, and as it pertains to land acquisition until matters resolved.
Second,
Roll call vote, please.
Cog, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Constantino, yes.
St. John, yes.
Dawson, yes. And
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Aye.
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 How does this shut off?
Now go shut.
That red button? No. Volume.